And we are live. Welcome to the NBA Deeper Dive. It is Thursday, March 9th. I am Josh Engleman. I am joined by Adam Scherer. We are brought to you by So Rare, and we've got a 6-game slate for today. I would much rather talk about this one than talk about everything from yesterday, but this slate is shaping up to be an absolute ugly disaster of jamming in chalk plays. Really excited to break that down. Before we get started, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know when everything goes live. Adam, I didn't talk to you this morning. How was your slate yesterday?
It wasn't good. Joval sucked. Jaylen Brown sucked. Matisse Thybulle expectedly sucked. I didn't play Lindy Waters and Trey Mann like I talked about for a good 5 minutes on the show. Yep. Didn't make that adjustment, so that didn't work. Yeah, it was ugly.
You and I were both chatting about the Joval experience. I was watching that game the entire time. Joval commits a foul on the tip, which honestly, I'm not entirely sure that I've seen in a very long time. He picked up a personal foul and no time had come off of the clock yet. They inbounded the ball, side out of bounds, 12 minutes in the first quarter, and Joval already had a foul, picked up another one 2 minutes in, and then did not come back out for the first half. That was not the day to have a Joval stand for you and I.
No, it was not. Had some idiot on Twitter telling me that Joval wasn't a good play because he hasn't had a good game without Nance in 2 months. So I did go back and check. There have been 3 total games in 2 months where Nance was out. The most recent being one where he smashed. So
he also played 32 minutes in the most recent game that he did that. Which, you're not going to get to 32 if you only play 2 in the first half.
Yep, makes it hard.
Yeah, that was about as infuriating as it could have been. And then we both had decent stands on Brandon Ingram. That went up.
That went poorly. Yeah.
The only good part of that is Prize Picks is outstanding. And if your guy gets hurt in the first half, they void that leg. They treat it like it doesn't happen. So he got hurt at the right time. I also had a decent stand on Luka, another injury. Did you see the report on his injury, by the way?
That he's out until he's out of discomfort.
Yeah. What kind of news is that? When it came, expected to return as soon as the discomfort allows. Not like when he's healthy, when he's better. It's just like he's going to be uncomfortable, and he's got to find it out when the uncomfortableness is at its lowest point.
Well, that whole thing was weird because that was the first back-to-back he had played in months, and then basically as soon as that game starts, Dallas beat writers are tweeting out Luka does not look right. Luka looks slower than usual.
I sent you the message right out of the gate. I was just like, dude, he's wincing already.
Yeah. And before we even get to halftime, Dallas beat writers are like, I don't think they should let Luka come out here in the second half. And then they did. And 3 minutes later, they're like, Luka to the locker room.
7:46, I send you the message. Joval with a foul on the tip. No time off the clock. 7:49. Luka's wincing already. Very clearly hurt.
Yeah.
And he could... There was no he would get a ball in a fast break and you could see him want to start. Do you remember when Harden was hurt with the Nets in that series? Was it against the Bucks where he was on one leg?
I have no idea.
Playoffs 2 years ago or whatever.
Don't know.
He played 40 minutes on the bad hammy, but anytime he was in a fast break situation, he just had to pull it out. That's what Luka was doing. He couldn't push the ball. It was infuriating. Well, you wanted to break down this slate? We got a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
Let's do it then. Charlotte Hornets, 4-point favorites in Detroit, 225 total. At least for Charlotte, we don't have a lot to talk about here. It's sort of the same team it always is. Cody Martin is out. Otherwise, we're just treating this one relatively normally. Ownership's relatively flat. Oubre and Rozier are both around 17%. PJ Washington and Gordon Hayward are in that 10 to 15 range. You're getting some to Mark Williams, some to Dennis Smith Jr. What do you see most here? What do you want to get? Because obviously a matchup against the Pistons is a pretty advantageous one.
Yeah, good spot to get to. No one guy that stands out as a top option, but pretty much the entire team looks good. Rozier, Oubre, Hayward, Washington, all pulling 10 to 17% ownership, 12 to 16% chances of being in the optimal lineup. Reasonable pricing there. And one thing that does stand out on this slate is you expect there to be a lot of value based on shorthanded teams that are playing and all of that, but pricing has gotten bumped up pretty aggressively. And that's one reason I was talking to you before the show. Like, I'm really concentrated on a few players today, and I don't feel good about it, but it's kind of just, that's what the slate's forcing me into. And that's sort of what you're seeing here with Charlotte, where none of these guys stand out as clear values, but you are getting tons of playing time from these guys with no LaMelo. Oubre's averaging around 37.5 minutes per game in the 4 games since he moved back into the starting lineup. Rozier's at 37.5 minutes per game in those games. Hayward's coming off a game he played like 36 minutes. Washington played 36 minutes 2 games ago, 30 last game where he was in some foul trouble. You're just expecting big playing time from these guys. And then somewhere in the 27 to 30 minute range from Mark Williams as well at 6K makes him a decent play. Probably getting around 24 off the bench from Dennis Smith Jr. at 4,700. I'm not really getting there, but I don't mind him as a contrarian play. But any of the starters here look good.
Yeah, I don't really have as much as I thought I was going to get here. I think that's just because so much has opened up that, like, there was a time where I thought I was going to have a ton of Oubre, a ton of Rozier, some of Mark Williams, and we're just starting to get so many more plays that are grading out as basically like what Charlotte was 3 games ago is what half of this slate is now. So I like them, but the only guy that I'm really getting to with any sort of volume is Rozier, and that has failed over and over again for me so far. So
yeah, it just looks like a lot of guys that I'm getting like 10-ish% of.
I don't really have too much else to say. The only benefit for Charlotte is that, like, there's no real weird way to project them. We know what we're getting out of these guys.
Yeah, agreed. The minutes are there.
Yeah. I don't really have anything else here to elaborate on. Detroit is a very different team that we do, in fact, have to talk about. For the Pistons, Killian Hayes is probable. Jalen Duren is probable. No Boyan, no Burks, no Beef Stew for probably the rest of the year. Diallo done for the year. Buddy Boeheim and Jared Rhoden, I assume, are with the G League team, which means that they only have 10 bodies. So, what is your expectation of the starting lineup?
Hayes, Ivy, Livers, Bagley, Wiseman.
Okay. Then, wait, Wiseman over Duren?
I'm guessing. I have no idea.
Okay. I went 24-24 on Duren Wiseman. Okay. So, does it matter to you then?
Who starts?
Yeah.
So, I think it matters a little bit. If Duren starts, I think I would give Duren a favorable side of that split, like 26-22, something like that. If it's Wiseman, I'm going 24-24.
Okay. And at 24-24, I don't think that either of them look all that great to begin with. We're going to have enough center value elsewhere, but 12% ownership coming to Ivy, Bagley, Hayes. This is another spot where when I did the process show this morning, I assumed that this was going to be a place that we got a ton of shit just because it's the Pistons. They're missing a bunch of guys. The matchup against the Hornets is perfect. Now I'm not getting to as much. Kind of feel like I should be getting to more Killian Hayes right now, but let's have this conversation. What do you like from the Pistons?
Yeah, I was surprised I wasn't getting to more Hayes because I do like getting to him here. Assuming he starts, I expect him to play around 30 minutes. He's pretty cheap, but I'm just not really getting there. Jaden Ivey's price tag has come up. You still get a nice usage rate from him without Bogdanovich or Cunningham on the floor, but it is likely that Hayes cuts into his assist opportunities a little bit. And, again, his salary jumped like over $1,000 since last game. So makes it tough to get much of him. I feel like I should be getting more Detroit, but I'm just really not. Duren and Wiseman, again, it's tough to get to either of them, given that we're expecting him to split minutes. If you get to a little bit of 5K Duren, that's fine, but not anything I plan on getting a lot of. Marvin Bagley's price tag has jumped like $1,000 on DraftKings, and now I am a little concerned about his playing time with Duren back, because before you could pretty comfortably count on Wiseman and Bagley having their minutes staggered in addition to playing minutes alongside each other. Now I think there's a very good chance that you're getting 48 center minutes from Duren plus Wiseman. And unless they just run Bagley out there for, 32 to 36 minutes at the 4, he's not guaranteed those extra minutes. So I think you're probably getting 28 to 30 minutes from him, which doesn't make him look that good at the elevated price tag either.
Yeah, I gave Bagley 29, so it seems like we're on the same spot here. The only guy that I'm getting to with anything is Hayes, and I only have 6%. I'm kind of surprised because he grades out really well. But
I think it's just that a lot of the plays, I mentioned that I was concentrated on several players. It's guards mostly.
Yeah, you and me both. We had one that was slightly different, but we're getting to the same stuff, and it's going to make it a little bit harder there. I feel like we should be talking about this game in more depth. I mean, the first three games, Hornets, Pistons, Rockets, Pacers are obviously both like DFS gold mines from a pace and lack of defense perspective. Utah, Orlando is also in that same realm. These 7 o'clock games are oddly important, but we've created so much value later on that it's going to become a very interesting day. I don't have anything else here to talk about for the Pistons.
No, me neither.
Alrighty. Schedule for the rest of the day. Very easy. Before I tell you, though, hit that like button if you haven't done it already. Let's run that number up a bit. Coming up after this, 6 p.m. Eastern time, you get NBA Live Before Lock. They'll take you all the way up until 7 o'clock and then some. You'll get that extra half hour. And then this is the easiest piece that I can tell you. If you want to sign up at stokastic.com, you can get 50% off your first week or month of any non-FC package that we have. Jordan will either drop that link in chat or you can find it in the description of this video. That's any sport or platinum, weekly or monthly. You'll get ownership, projections, the lineup generator, our lineup builder, boom, bust, leverage score, everything that you could possibly want behind the paywall. You can get access to it, whether that's individual sports or everything that we got for a week or a month, 50% off. It's a great deal. And it's a perfect time for you to do it because right now, with the amount of ridiculous NBA stuff that's happening, you'll want a couple extra tools at your disposal. The Houston Rockets are 9.5-point dogs in Indy, 236 total. So just in case you want to know how bad the Rockets are, they're almost 10-point dogs to the Pacers. Kevin Porter Jr. is out for this one, something we've seen recently. Ty Washington also with the G League, which is at least relevant from a additional rotational piece perspective. 31% ownership coming into Jalen Green at 6,400. He's somebody that I thought I was going to have in basically everything this morning. Now I just have some of Jalen Green. And then you got about 10% coming into Tate, Tari Eason, Jabari Smith, Şengün, Kenyon Martin. Let's start with Green. How do you feel about him right now? Point guard, shooting guard, 6,400.
Yeah, I think he looks good. He's in around a quarter of my lineups right now. You get an increased usage rate from him with no Kevin Porter Jr., and you should get plenty of minutes here. You know, we saw him kind of limited when he first came back from injury, but coming off a game where he played 37 and a half minutes, I expect him to at least be getting into the mid-30s here in a good matchup. I think the field's pretty much correct. We have him projected for 30% ownership. I'm at like 26% right now. So he is one of the guards that I do like getting to in the mid-range today.
What about the rest of Houston? Because obviously it's a great spot against Indy. It's a pace-up matchup. Their defense hasn't been very good. When you look at Houston, do you see anybody else that jumps out?
Yeah, I think it's a spot that I like going to for some value plays. I'm expecting Jae'Sean Tate to start in place of Kevin Porter Jr. And if that's the case, I gave him 26 minutes. The most recent game where you had Green in, Porter out, Gordon out, you had Tate in the starting lineup. That was against OKC back before the All-Star break. He only played about 19 minutes in that game, but he got hurt in the second half. He played 13 or 14 first half minutes. So I went 26 minutes on Tate, assuming he starts. If they were to go to Knicks, then I'm taking a couple minutes off of Tate, giving them to Knicks. But assuming Tate starts, I think he plays around 26 minutes at 4,100. And that actually looks like a good value on this slate. Like this morning, I didn't think it looked that good just because like I knew who was playing and it felt like it shouldn't be that good of a play. But with how much teams got priced up today, I think Tate actually does stand out as a good value if he's starting. I don't mind taking some shots at Josh Christopher at no ownership, just hoping that he steps in. I have him at 20 minutes right now. Okay. He shows up like 14% of the time for me just because it's so hard for me to find low-owned plays that I like. So that's, it's not a play that I'm comfortable with. It's not a play I expect a lot out of, but he is shooting guard, small forward eligible. We have him projected for nearly 18 DraftKings points, only getting 6% ownership. So he's showing up some for me. Tari Eason's price tag has come up to 5,600, but he is playing big minutes. He's averaged like 29 minutes per game over his last 5, about 27 per game over his last 10. I gave him 26 or 27 minutes today. They're not playing much KJ Martin plus Eason plus Jabari Smith. So I think setting a rule for like a max 2 of those makes some sense. But we are seeing enough Jabari Smith alongside Tari Eason that, I've talked about it before since the Eric Gordon trade. If anything goes sideways in this rotation, Tari Eason can step into more minutes, whether that's Jabari Smith foul trouble, KJ Martin foul trouble, Alperen Şengün foul trouble. Any of that stuff happens, you can get more minutes from Tari Eason. And his baseline is probably like 23 or 24 at this point. So just projecting around 26 minutes, knowing that if anything goes wrong, he's playing 28, 29 minutes. He looks okay, but that price tag has come up to 5,600. So I think pretty much correctly owned there. Şengün, if you get there, I never have any problems with that. But right now I'm getting around, 7-8%. So not going too crazy on that one.
The guy I'm getting to most right now is Tari. Well, aside from Jalen Green, who is very clearly the best option from the Rockets, is Tari Eason. But I give him 28 minutes. I'm a little nervous now. I might take one off of him just to not have it be too crazy, because there is some ambiguity with Houston. But those past 3 games, 28, 30, 31. I mean, he's out there for it. That's for sure. So I don't necessarily hate it, but I don't trust it either. And then I've got scattered amounts of Jabari, Şengün, a little bit of Kmart, a little bit of Tate, nothing too crazy there. But Green, to me, the ownership shows it very clearly, the best option you can get to from Houston in overall, like a guy that can show up in cash games. And I assume he is, if he's 31% owned at this point, or at least very close to it. Have we gotten an ownership update in the last hour?
I'm not sure.
24 minutes ago, we have. Let me grab this updated ownership before we move it over to the Pacers side of this one. I always want to have the most up-to-date stuff, because we did get Clarkson out not too far before this show started, which sort of matters.
Yeah, a little bit.
All right, let's go over to the Indy side then. For the Pacers, not a lot of news here. We're waiting on the Q tag of Aaron Nesmith. He missed both ends of the back-to-back on Sunday and Monday. We'll see how much that actually matters. But the only guy getting any ownership here is Tyrese Halliburton at 14%. Everybody else is coming in sub 10%. What do you want to do here with Indy? I don't think anybody stands out, but I think Halliburton, Hield, Turner, and Mathurin all look relatively similar compared to salary.
Yeah, I mean, Halliburton, if you can get there, great. I'm getting around 12, 13% right now, so pretty much in line with the field. One thing that makes him look a little bit better than he normally would, because he's at an elevated $9,800 price tag. But for one, on this slate, there's not a ton of like mid-range guys that are mispriced. But the bigger thing is there's not a lot of pay-up options. And of the pay-up options you don't have Embiid, you don't have Harden, you don't have Trae Young, you don't have Morant, you don't have Jokic, you don't have Giannis, you don't have you don't have Luka, you don't have like all of the guys that normally make it really tough to pay $9,800 for Tyrese Halliburton. So that combined with the good matchup does just make him look like one of the best pay-up options. We have him right now as the second highest projected player on the slate behind Steph Curry. So you're just going to get to him a little bit more than you normally would, but it is still a pretty healthy price tag for him.
I think I have him tops.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable. I think they're
I mean, like him, Randall, Curry are all very, very similar to each other. Just Sabonis as well is pretty close. Just wild to not see any of those like 50+ point guys out there today. I've got everybody sub 50, and it creates some interesting lineup construction, that's for sure. What can we do with the rest of this team though? Are you interested in anything else here? How much does Aaron Nesmith's news matter to you?
A little bit, but we haven't been getting a ton of playing time from Jordan Nwora anyway. I projected Nesmith in for like 24 minutes. That got me about 3% of him and 1% of Nwora. If he's out and I can give Nwora like 22 to 24 minutes, I'll get a little bit more Nwora, but it's still not going to make a huge difference for me. Hield, I'm getting like 11%. I don't have any issue with that. Should give you around 30 minutes, but could, certainly play a little bit more, but that's about what he's been averaging recently. So yeah, like Hield, Halliburton, I think are fine. Miles Turner, if you get there, is good. I'm only getting like 2% right now. I'm getting a little bit more Şengün in that price range.
Yeah, I don't have any of Turner right now. Wouldn't mind if it showed up. Got a little bit of Mathurin. It's whatever. Shooting guard, small forward is really the only reason it's happening. Halliburton is the guy that I'm getting to most, but even then, I'm just with the field. So this is another game where, other than the Jalen Green situation where having KPJ just changes him, it's a game where I thought I'd get a little bit more, and I'm just not, because there are more games coming up that we are just going to be locked and loaded to. Yep. Nesmith is in already. Is that true?
I hadn't seen it, but it's possible I missed it.
I still see him as questionable. Yeah. Nesmith is in already. It was 4 minutes ago. God, son of a bitch. Apologies for not getting to that while we're talking about Indiana. They didn't directly put that in my ear, unfortunately. I need to get
Jordan just still messing up.
Yeah, I need to get the Pacers beat writer in my ear, evidently. 4 minutes. 4 minutes. I thought I was going to look at it and be like, oh shit, that came out at like 2:00.
No. Yo, I was like, I didn't nap today or anything. I've been working on basketball all day. I don't know how I missed that.
Yeah, came out at 5:17.
Yeah, that'll do it.
I got nothing else for the Pacers.
Me neither. Orlando starting lineup is what you would have expected.
Okay. Utah, thanks for letting me know that. Obviously, because that information came out ages ago, right?
Yeah, probably 5 minutes by now.
Utah Jazz, 3-point dogs in Orlando, 234 total. We did get news for Utah just before we started this show that Jordan Clarkson is out. Walker Kessler is in. Colin Sexton still out. What does that do for you here for Utah? How do you feel about Lauri Markkanen 9,600? Very different play today with no pay-up options in comparison to days where there are pay-up options. And then Talen Horton-Tucker at 22% ownership. I think you and I are going to immediately be like, nope.
Yeah. So I ran everything before the Clarkson news. So I don't know exactly how I'm going to end up adjusting to that. But my expectation is that I don't change too much there. Like, he is certainly a higher usage guy than Agbaji, who I assume is going to replace him in the starting lineup. But you still have Horton-Tucker up to 6,500, probably playing like 30 to 32 minutes. He is shooting guard small forward eligible, which is nice. But at that ownership, I just think I'm going to have trouble getting there. I don't think it's a bad play. It's just a play that I think is going a little bit over-owned, probably a little bit over-projected here. Lauri Markkanen's really expensive. You have a little bit more usage to go around without Clarkson, but we haven't seen any sort of huge uptick from Markkanen without him out there. So I think Markkanen's fine, but I'm not getting to that 20% number, at least in the crunch that I ran with Clarkson in. I had like 5% Markkanen. I just have a hard time thinking I'm getting 4 times as much Markkanen now with Clarkson out. So I assume I'm still going to be under the field. And that's sort of the same thing with Horton-Tucker. Like, I was just getting no Horton-Tucker and I had him at, I think, 28 minutes. So like now if I go to 30, 32, I just have a hard time, but increases ownership from none to 22%. I just have a hard time thinking that I'm going to suddenly be getting a bunch of him. So I still don't think I'm going to end up getting to this much, to that much of this team, because they are priced up. You've gotten the price tag adjusting on Horton-Tucker. You're probably getting 24, 25 minutes from Chris Dunn, but he's priced up to 5,700. And I refuse to buy into his 6 games of production or whatever it's been. Like, we have a very long career of Chris Dunn being a fine, but not great point per minute guy, like a 0.9 guy. I just find it very hard to believe that he is suddenly much better than that. So at the elevated price tag, I'm not really buying into that. Walker Kessler's prices come up. Olynyk's prices come up a little bit. And now you don't have the same sort of rebounding upside with Kessler in that you would have if Kessler were out. I still find this team mostly difficult to get to. Like, they look marginally better without Clarkson, but considering how little of them I was getting before the Clarkson news, I still think I'm going to not get to that much of them, especially because the ownerships come up.
Yeah, the only guy that I'm really getting to here is Markkanen. I'm just a hair under the field. Slight bump for him for not having Clarkson here, but nothing crazy. It's not like he goes from a 25% usage guy to a 30-something% usage guy. It's like an extra percentage point. So I'm getting a little bit, mostly because there aren't barriers above him like there normally are. Like, you listed off all of the pay up options that aren't there today. Normally, I'm just getting to all of those guys before I ever get to a $9,600 Markkanen. Now he's just sort of like priced with the guys around him that are close to him. So I don't hate it as much, but not a priority. And I don't see any real priorities here for Utah.
Right. It's similar to Halliburton in that they're sticker shock at that price. But when you think about it in the context of pay up alternatives on this slate, he becomes a little bit easier to get to. But that being said, I just doubt that I'm really going to get to him.
All right. Let's go over to the Orlando side then. For the Magic, what do we got here? Where are they hiding? Okay. Gary Harris is back. Wendell Carter Jr. still out. Admiral Schofield is available, if that matters to you. It shouldn't. And then Kevon Harris is with the G League. We got 16% ownership coming into Franz, 13 coming into Fultz, another 9 coming into Mo Wagner and Paolo. I thought Mo Wagner was going to be hella chalk, and then I was just like, oh, nope, they got him to 5,500. It's not happening as crazy as it's going to be.
Yeah, and coming off 21 minutes.
Yeah. So I assume you're going with the assumption that he starts again today?
We got the starting lineup, so yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's a good point. I'm not really reading into anything. Like, could he close? Yes, he didn't close in what was not a very close game the last time. Played your standard issue first, second, and third quarter rotations. I think if it's competitive, he could close. I don't think they're going to close like with Goga or anything crazy like that. So I'm probably not getting to much at the centers. Do you think you are?
Probably not. I went to 26 minutes on Wagner. He's averaged about 28 minutes per game as a starter this year, but they did give Goga both halves last game. So it kind of concerns me that there were 2 things that concerned me outside of, that he played 21 minutes, but Goga played as like an actual backup center there, whereas 2 games ago, Schofield played one half, Goga played another. It wouldn't surprise me if they just want to get Goga some steady backup minutes, but then also they did close with a small lineup there. And so I didn't go 48 minutes on these guys either. I went like 26 to to Wagner. I went like 16 or 17 to Goga. I didn't project Schofield to play. Maybe he will. Like I gave 8 minutes to Caleb Houston. Who cares? But yeah. So those two things. Like I went to 26 minutes. You could still play Wagner. I didn't get there in 26 minutes at 9% owned, but if he does play 32, 33 minutes, he can very easily give you a game that you need. But in like at a 26 or 27 minute projection, I don't think I'm really going to get there. I am still getting to Cole Anthony at 5,300, which kind of surprised me, but I went to 26 minutes on him. You've seen his playing time ramp up, even before Gary Harris's absence. I think that's a reasonable projection. There's going to be some games where he closes, some games where he doesn't, but 26 seems reasonable. And the big thing is that he's just not pulling much ownership. So that is one contrarian spot that I'm getting quite a bit of. Paolo Banchero is showing up in lineups for me as well. 7,900 is a pretty healthy price tag, but you just don't have that many good forward plays today. So Banchero in a favorable matchup at only 9 to 10% owned is showing up for me as well. Him and Anthony are the two I'm getting to the most. Franz Wagner and Fultz showing up a little bit also.
Yeah, I got to 15% Fultz. Everybody else that I have is like 10% or less. That seems fine to me. Whether I'm getting I'm going to have a little bit of Franz, a little bit of Paolo, a little bit of Cole Anthony. That's sort of how I see this matchup. Wild 7:00 games.
Yeah.
Fun.
So
we're
a little bit.
Is there a decent 7:00 slate? Because I think like just these 3 games could be like a really fun independent slate.
Probably not. They normally don't do that. I think it's just the main slate and the night slate today.
Yeah, that's a shame because like that's just a fun set of 3 games.
Yeah, but it's also a pain in the dick to make lineups for.
Oh yeah, because you're doing 2 things at once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm a little bit different there, at least, in the crunch I ran before the show. I was at like 25% Anthony, 15 Banchero, and then 6 apiece on Fultz and Wagner.
Okay.
Franz Wagner.
Dirty Hippie hit us with the message. Super chat, I guess. Best NBA duo in the business. Thanks, guys. Thanks to you as well. Oh, it's the subscriber message. I got the DM from Jordan before I saw it in the chat, but appreciate you, Dirty Hippie. Not really the best advertisement for yourself.
I just immediately think of what's his name from that 70s show?
I don't know which one you mean.
Chong.
Oh, Tommy Chong. I don't know what his name is in the show.
Yeah, I couldn't think of his name in the show, so I had.
You just picture when you hear Dirty Hippie, you picture Tommy Chong.
I picture his character in the show.
Okay, that's fair. I didn't watch the show a lot. Like, I clearly saw it, and like I know the gist of it, but like I don't know too much.
I'd mostly forgotten about his character until I watched that 90s show because he's in that also.
I definitely haven't seen.
Yeah, I mean it's nothing special, but it's background entertainment.
It's really weird to me that I didn't watch that 70s show, considering who was involved and when it was out and the things that I like to do. It's sort of a show in my wheelhouse. It's not like I wasn't a big Ashton Kutcher fan.
Yeah. I mean, I like that 70s show. I think I watched it like after it was on air though. But no, I mean that's like Lofty and I were talking about the other day. Like I'm not a big South Park fan, even though that style of comedy is exactly what I like.
Yeah. See, I'm a huge South Park fan, so I got no problems there. But yeah, that was just a show that never really caught for me, and I have no idea why. No clue whatsoever. Like I would like if it were ever on, it was perfectly reasonable background noise, but it was never a show that I tried to seek out. And I liked Kutch too. I might have to go back and watch Dude, Where's My Car?
That was on TV the other day. Speaking of things that just age absolutely horribly.
It's so bad, dude.
Awful.
I watched it a couple years ago and it was still just like, oh my God. And I remember when it came out thinking like, this is a cinematic masterpiece.
Right. Yeah. It was within the last like couple of years. I was just like, oh, this is on TV. I'm going to watch it. And I watched like 20 minutes of it. I was like, oh, I can't watch this.
Not to mention like Sean William Scott was also hilarious to me.
Right. Yeah. And like, I like Sean William Scott in future movies. Like I like Ashton Kutcher and it's just so bad.
Now it just makes me want to watch Role Models.
Yeah. That one I watched semi recently and it does hold up.
I wonder why he didn't have a bigger career. Did he just get typecast into being Stifler?
Probably. Like he plays that role in like everything.
Yeah, he's so good. I watched American Pie 2 recently, and he's amazing in it. He's so great in the first one too. I mean, he's a character you like can't really write anymore. Like all he wants to do is get girls drunk and bang them and stuff, and you can't do that stuff anymore.
But yeah, like I feel like pretty much every movie he's been in since he's in, at least he's some version of that.
Yeah, like his Role Models character is just like a tame version of that.
Yeah, it's like he grew up, settled down a little bit in his 30s, and is still just an idiot. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, he's not like as rapey as he is in American
right,
Pie,
right,
but he's still chugging Minotaur and stuff.
right. Like he's kind of what you would expect, like that kind of person to mature into.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, I wouldn't have expected him to get that job. That seemed even out of his
True.
league
Yeah.
to just go around and do it. Seems like he'd be perfect for the role that he has in the final American Pie movie where he's like the coach of the high school football
Right.
team or
That's true.
something
Yeah.
stupid. Oh man, great movies. American Pie is a gem, an absolute
Yeah.
gem. I'll tell you what, I stand with Jason Biggs. If Nadia takes her clothes off in front of me, it's over immediately too. I get it. That was the most relatable scene I've ever seen in a movie in my entire life. Everybody's playing it off like it's humor. And I'm just like, isn't that what all of us would do? I mean,
Yeah.
she's on a different level altogether. Super Bad blows American Pie away. I mean, we're just talking about two different movies.
Yeah, they're different. I love Superbad, but yeah, just different movies.
Yeah. Yeah, I just like you can't compare them. It's a different level of comedy. I mean, Jason Biggs banged a pie. We'll just tell your mother that we ate it all. Yeah, I can hear him saying that in my mind over and over and over again. Okay. You know what else is great? It's not just American Pie. It's not just Superbad. It's also So Rare. They are the sponsor of this show. I don't know if they'd appreciate the lead in that they just got, but they're getting it nonetheless. If you're interested in signing up at So Rare, we've got a link in the description. Jordan can drop that in chat too. You can get one free limited card after you complete your first 5 card purchases on the market. So here's the deal with So Rare. This is something that I dipped my toe into during COVID on the soccer side. Now that they've got baseball and basketball, it's a much different system. But don't think that this is some sort of like flash in the pan situation. This is a company that's been established for multiple years. They're doing 10, 15, 20, 25 million in revenue monthly. This is a real thing. And to me, this is the future of what we're going to be doing to a degree. We're talking about DraftKings a lot right now. The idea of being able to pick up an NFT of a card and use that in your lineups for that particular week or for that particular contest, that is going to be what we're seeing in the future more than what we're used to. And I think So Rare is doing an excellent job of starting themselves off and getting their idea out there. The soccer product is established. The NBA one is new, but I like the mechanism that they have. You're buying and selling these cards on the market. You can just do that if you want to try to make some money out of it. But you can enter contests to win additional cards for your lineups in the future. Those things can be ultra rare if possible, depending on how well you finish each week. By using cards, those cards gain XP, so they become even better in subsequent uses. You're competing with rewards against everybody that's playing, but you're buying, selling, trading all of these cards. Like if I had a LeBron James, I could trade that to Adam for all sorts of different stuff. It doesn't just have to be, just cash or ETH or whatever you want it to be. It doesn't have to just be other cards. You can mix and match. The mechanism of it all, the fantasy aspect of it all, I see this as the future. I highly recommend people check this out. Click that link in the description. To me, it's part of the future of fantasy. How we see it now is going to look more like So Rare in 5 years than it does currently. Learn it now. Get out in front of it now. Build yourself up. It's not like you're just rostering a guy and then you lose him. You'll have him forever in theory if you want him. So if you want to get in early on a rookie, that could be a very, very valuable card that you hold for a long time. Think of these things more like assets instead of just daily lineups. Go check it out. Now what movie we're talking? Oh, Van Wilder, exceptional.
Yeah.
Absolutely exceptional.
Yeah. Prime Tara Reid.
Aces there. It's not the movie where she's topless. That was the good one. Body Shots? Yeah, Body Shots. I
don't think I saw that one.
It's not a great movie, but it was the first time that she removed her clothing in a film. That got better because it got a lot worse for her after that. But yeah, she's prime real estate in Van Wilder, and you get Tech from the real world. Fantastic role there. The dog in that one is exceptional.
You had Harold and Kumar too.
Yeah.
Kal Penn.
Yeah, he was the assistant.
Yeah.
Naj Nahasapina Pedaman or something
Yeah.
like that. That was so good. Well, he gets that hot chick too, and then like lights himself on fire trying to give her a massage.
Yeah. I forgot about that.
He goes to slide and just like slides over top of her and
into,
knocks
like,
over all the candles and it lights him on fire. Oh, it's hot, burning up. I'm gonna go rewatch Van Wilder now too. See, this is the wheelhouse of me working in the video store. So like all of these movies that were peak like high school type movies, I've seen like 1,000 times.
Yeah. I have Van Wilder on like DVD at my parents' house, I think.
I think I can say this now because the statute of limitations is over. But when I was working at the video store, my best friend Pat got that Van Wilder movie while I was working, and that never made it back to the video store. There, a couple of years later, he brought it out when he was in college. He was like, "Yo, do you know what this is?" I was like, "I don't know, man." He's like, "This is the Van Wilder DVD I took from Fox Video." It's like, "Thanks, man. We were looking for that for a while."
Waiting's a good one too, go.
Oh, Waiting's fantastic. I mean, the amount of different times that I have like tucked my balls into different places to make my friends look at them was, I mean, for a good solid year, you couldn't open a door and if you were in a house and knowing somebody was just going to be standing there with the goat.
I saw it late. Like I didn't see it till college, but I remember getting my friend that got me to watch it very good in our dorm room.
Oh man. The goat, the Batwing. We made up a bunch of our own. I had a good movie screen one that was really fun, sort of like the Batwing.
I was gonna say it sounds like the Batwing.
The bat, just different, slightly different shape, different stretch. Next time I see you,
I'm
next time I see you, you're getting the goat though for sure. It's gonna be great. We're gonna set up some Stokastic dinner, and I'm just gonna be standing inside the doorway, balls out. And the first person that walks through the door is going to end up being Rachel, and I'm going to get fired.
I'll say I hope it's Rachel when you get fired.
The only person where it would be really, really bad. Golden State Warriors. 2.5 point favorites in Memphis, 235 total. Still no Andrew Wiggins. Hopefully he gets back here soon. He needs to play himself back into shape. Kuminga probable, Looney probable, Iggy probable. So we kind of know what we're doing here for the Warriors. No real ownership coming in. Draymond actually 11% owned. They're playing the Dylan Brooks narrative here. Do you like anything from Golden State? I think that's a different kind of question.
No, I don't. Are you assuming that Kevon Looney starts?
Yes.
Okay, so am I. And my answer is no. Like I'm getting 7% Draymond, 6% DiVincenzo, 2% Curry, and nothing else. Like Draymond and DiVincenzo both just look like not pieces that you really want to get to, just last guy in type pieces where you need somebody in that price range. They're relatively low owned. They're fine. But certainly nothing you're excited about. I like the idea of getting to Steph because this is the rare slate where there's not a bunch of guys in his price range that project better than him. But I'm still just having difficulty because you don't have a ton of like cheap pieces to get there either. I'm just finding myself getting to more of that like Tyus Jones, Desmond Bane, Drew Holiday range of guards than paying up for him. I am getting to more Halliburton than I am Steph as well. So I like the idea of it. I'm having trouble actually doing it though.
Yeah, I have one share of Steph and one share of Jordan Poole, and that's all I have of the Warriors, which I don't like that at all.
Yeah, well, I mean, Poole should get some more minutes once Draymond gets ejected in the first quarter.
I wish that there was some sort of way to like account for him and Brooks here today.
Yeah, we were talking about it this morning, and I remember there was I don't remember who the player was or what the example was, but I remember there was, I think it was like last season, where it was a spot like this where it was just like, something is going to happen here. And chat was like, oh, well, it's like 50-50 he gets ejected. It was like, no, it's probably like 90-10 that he doesn't. And that's kind of, 95-5 that he doesn't. Like, and that's kind of the thing. Like, whatever the odds are that anybody's ever going to get ejected from a game, they are much, much, much higher here. And they're still essentially non-existent as far as DFS goes.
And they're way more likely to happen late in the game if this goes squirrely in either direction.
Right.
You need one of them to be like ornery because of the game too.
Right. It's unlikely that either of them do something stupid right out of the gate just to not play in this game.
Yeah. You're not in
if
that
one of them does it,
headspace.
my guess would be Brooks. But
yeah,
it's much more likely that, you get that 12-point game with 3 minutes left and those two start going at it.
Because at that point in time, like if the Warriors are winning late, big, Draymond is going to be talking so much shit. It's going to be insane. Because it's different if Brooks is talking this shit. because Draymond won't care.
Right.
Like he can just be like, yo, man, I got 4 rings. Like he can hit him with the truth bombs.
Right.
If the Warriors are winning, Draymond's going to be talking shit and Brooks is not going to take that well. They're going to have to sub him out.
So what I really wish I could bet, or if there was like a market for, Dillon Brooks is for sure suspended next game, right? He's one tech away from a suspension. So it doesn't need to get ejected.
So is Luka.
Yeah, and Draymond's 2 away.
Yeah.
But like Brooks is getting a tech in this game.
Yeah. If Fred VanVleet can get him so easily, I think Brooks should pull one off today. That's one of the best interviews I've ever seen.
That was amazing. Like the Draymond take on Brooks, I thought was going to be the best soundbite I saw for a while, and then VanVleet just topped it within like 12 hours.
The casual calmness with the way that he eviscerated him was just great.
Right.
Like he was so.
Are you talking Green or VanVleet? Because this applies to
VanVleet.
Because it applies to Draymond too.
The way that he was cursing was so calm.
Right. It was like he had clearly thought about what he wanted to say, and that was exactly what he wanted to say.
Oh, he knew. Like, I mean, that's why he let it off, where he was just like, "Yeah, I'm gonna get fined. I don't care. Like, I'm at least gonna earn this one." I don't blame it. If you're gonna go in, like, go in with the truth.
Oh, so I didn't realize Brooks had already gotten a suspension. I thought he was 1 away from his first suspension.
Oh yeah, he just had one on the 5th.
Yeah, so I knew he didn't play. I didn't know why he hadn't played.
By the way, I don't know if you have seen this yet. 5 of the 8 technical fouls that Fred VanVleet has gotten have been in games with Ben Taylor.
He had said they were like all from Taylor.
3 of them are directly from Taylor. So there's also that. I'm just fascinated by. Did you see the one that he got from Taylor where he threw the ball off the basket?
I didn't even see what he got yesterday.
He said some like, we got to play through this bullshit or something to like the rest of the team. He got one in a prior game from Taylor. Ball goes in, VanVleet catches it and just like throws it off the stanchion and just like comes straight back to him. There's nobody else there, nothing else involved. He tees him up for it.
That's like delay of game at worst.
It was on the ball's dead too. Like it's there's a foul called somewhere else.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't even like before an inbound or something.
No, he's not delaying anything. But I saw that clip making its way. Anyway, let's talk Memphis because this one matters. No Ja Morant, just in case you haven't heard, and evidently not good news for Steven Adams, out for basically the rest of the regular season. Vince Williams, shout out to BCU, also not playing for today. But we need to talk about Memphis. 32% owned Desmond Bane, 20% owned Tyus Jones. Call it 10 to 15 on Jaren Jackson and Xavier Tillman. Another 8 on Dillon Brooks. I'm getting a lot different ownership for some of these guys. We're going to have a conversation, but I think you and I are on the same page for this one. Desmond Bane looks incredible. Yeah,
it kind of scares me at that price tag, but he's likely to give you around 34 minutes. 8K is an elevated price tag, but it's just not as much of a price bump as you've seen for a lot of other guys on this slate. And you get a usage bump for him without Ja Morant. He is coming off of an absolutely horrible game against the Lakers, but you can't read into that too much. Just looks really, really good here in the context of everything. So he's projected for 32% ownership. I'm getting a hell of a lot more than that. I'm getting a lot of Tyus Jones as well. He's priced up to 6,700, but only projected for around 19 to 20% ownership. He still looks good here. Should give you around 33, 34 minutes. He's over a fantasy point per minute guy without Morant. So those two I'm getting tons of. So
I'm not getting as much Tyus. A little surprised, but 6,700 is at least a real price tag for him finally. I'm getting to 2x the field on Jackson, which certainly scares the living hell out of me, but besides the point. And then I really like Dillon Brooks at 8% ownership, 4,800 small forward. Am I crazy there?
I'm getting there. Especially because he's only projected for 7 to 8% ownership. I have like 14%. I had a bunch of him the other day too. That went about as poorly as it can. But the guy led the team in field goal attempts at 4,200. It's just one of those. He had no peripherals. He shot poorly, which obviously he does a lot. But it's just one of those spots where he's 4,200 and shot the ball 17 times. I can't feel that bad about that play. And now he's 4,800 on a slate where we don't have a lot of really cheap guys that look good. And he's not getting ownership. If Dylan Brooks were really popular here, sure, find other spots to get to. Hope he shoots like shit. Hope he gets ejected. But if he's just going to get 7 to 8% ownership, I'm probably going to be over the field on that. I would be right now. It's still a reasonable price tag. The ceiling is there. We've talked about it before, where he does take a considerable backseat when all three of Morant, Bane, and Jackson are in. But if any one of those guys are out, Dylan Brooks decides it's Dylan Brooks time, and he gets up a bunch of shots. So, yeah, I'm getting there. I'm not comfortable with it, but it's just, I think, too cheap of a price tag and not enough ownership.
Yeah, I got 22% on Brooks. I'm not mad about that at all. That's about what I have of Jackson. That one scares me more than Brooks, honestly. Like, I'd rather have 22% Brooks than 22% Jackson, because Jackson just scares me constantly. I'm surprised I don't have more Tyus, but we're going to talk about some more guards shortly. What do you want to do with Tillman? 5,900 power forward center now.
I'm getting a little bit. He's projected for 16% ownership. I'm not getting that much. I'm around 10%, but the playing time has been there for him without Brandon Clark. You've gotten 33 minutes, 32 minutes. Yeah, like the playing time's there. The price is still reasonable. Power forward eligibility on DraftKings helps quite a bit as well. I think he's a good enough play. I just think that he's, pretty much correctly owned, if not a little bit over owned.
Anybody else you want to get here too? Aldama, Conchar, Kennard? Is there additional value anywhere?
So, I mean, we didn't talk about Jackson. I think he's a good play as well. I'm not getting to it. He's, up to 8,600, but he's likely to give you 30 to 32 minutes. He's about a 1.3 fantasy point per minute guy without Morant on the floor, or in the games he's played without Morant, I should say. Getting backup center minutes with no Brandon Clark is good for him as well. So he is one where I'm not getting much, and I am scared about it because the ceiling is really high, especially when you consider that you're getting increased usage, increased rebounding opportunities, and you still have the massive block upside. But I'm just having trouble getting to that price. Outside of that, there's nothing really. I got a little bit of Aldama at 4,400. In the last couple of games, we've seen one game where Aldama played like 26 minutes. We've seen a game where Luke Kennard played 28 and a half minutes. He's 3,400. If you get a little bit of one of those guys, I think it's fine. I wouldn't hate if I start getting a little bit, like if some of my Josh Christopher starts turning into Luke Kennard, and instead of having like 14% Christopher and no Kennard, I got like, 6 to 8% of each. That would be perfectly fine with me. But there's nothing else that I think is like actually a really good play.
All righty. Well, let's head to Brooklyn. I did not know when I got on the process this morning that Brooklyn was sitting everybody that they are, but no Spencer Dinwiddie, no Cam Johnson, no Nick Claxton, no Royce O'Neal, no Ben Simmons. Let's just start here. Who do you think is starting for the Nets?
Sumner, Curry, Bridges, Finney-Smith, and Sharp.
Okay. And when you say the final answer is one of the centers.
The final answer is Bridges, Finney-Smith, and who the hell knows?
Yeah, that I agree with. Bridges and Finney-Smith, you feel good about. I assume it's one of Sharp or Noel. I assume now that I say that it's Watanabe, but like whatever.
Yeah, I mean the actual answer is two of Cam Thomas, Seth Curry, Joe Harris, Edmund Sumner, Patty Mills, and then one of Sharp, Noel, Watanabe.
Knicks is starting for Houston, by the way.
Okay, so Tate's not starting, so I'll have less Tate now.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about the two guys that I don't think need all that much conversation. Mikal Bridges is 8,500. Dorian Finney-Smith is 4,200. They're both 14% owned. That seems about right to me.
Yeah, Finney-Smith, not a good offensive player and not somebody that's likely to step into increased usage because that's just not the kind of player he is. But he is cheap. He is likely to give you 30 to 32 minutes. And yeah, he's just easy enough to get to. I'm getting around 9 to 10%. No problems with that.
How much Day'Ron Sharp is too much Day'Ron Sharp today?
If he's starting, so I projected him for 24 minutes. We've gotten 2 starts from him where he's played 32 and 28 minutes. The 28-minute one was the one that I think was the most comparable to what we could expect today. And in that one, he did only play like 11 or 12 minutes in the first half. He got a weird rotation in the second half, played the entire fourth quarter. So it's not like I want to go 28 or 30 minutes on him. But even at 24 minutes at 3K flat, he's a good point per minute guy. And he's somebody where, like, if this game blows out, you're probably getting more playing time from him. If this game's competitive, you can get those minutes. So I do think he's blowout proof as well. So assuming he's starting at 24 minutes, he'll probably be in every lineup I play if he's starting. If he comes off the bench, if they start Noel, then it's probably he's still a good play, but like I would just be getting more Noel, and I don't really want to play them together. So it would cost me some Sharp. But even coming off the bench, I'm still going to play plenty of him because the ownership is going to come down if he comes off the bench.
So I gave them both 22 minutes. I didn't have a great feel for that at all. I have Sharp in essentially everything that I'm doing. The problem for me here is that I'm not really getting to Nerlens Noel. Are you?
No.
Okay.
And that's in large part because I am not going to play them together. But also, Noel's just not really showing up in lineups. Like, I crunched 2,000 lineups before the show. Sharp showed up in like 70% of them. Noel showed up in 13 total. So that's the problem too. And that was 18 minutes for Noel. So I did go a little bit lower than he did.
Okay. Yeah. Even at 22, I didn't get much. I mean, he's not the best per minute guy. He's not like a void of DFS stats, but he's like a 0.85 guy. And you're going to need a little bit more than that, especially when on your own team, there's a better version. What the hell do we do with $4,600 Cam Thomas today?
I'm not getting a lot of him. If the slate started right now, I'd have like 12 to 13%. I'm not very confident in that. Like, he can absolutely just destroy you. And if you don't have him, like, he can absolutely just be somebody you have to have. You know the upside that you get from him. You've seen it in the few games he's played earlier this year without Kyrie and without Durant. It's just, so one, I'm assuming he doesn't start. If he starts, I'm giving him a few more minutes. Right now, though, assuming he comes off the bench, I went to 28 minutes. I still think he plays a good amount, but he's just getting so much ownership. And this is still a tough matchup against Milwaukee. It is a player that played way, way above his head in a small sample earlier this year. And people are going to remember that. And, it kind of, and it's my first thought too. And it's why it's really scary not to have a lot of him. That he can just go out there and give you 50 fantasy points and you'll feel really dumb if you don't have him. But it's not like this is somebody that we have no NBA track record on. Like, overall this year, 0.95 DraftKings points per minute on 27% usage, 56% true shooting, and like 750 minutes played. If he plays 28 minutes, like, I haven't projected around 27 to 28 DraftKings points. To me, that doesn't warrant the ownership that he's getting. Is the upside there? Sure. And he's in some lineups for me, but it's just a spot where I'm getting to, a lot of Desmond Bane, a lot of Tyus Jones, and it's costing me some Cam Thomas. The other thing is there's no guarantee he plays those minutes. You do still have Patty Mills, you have Curry, you have Sumner. It's not like Thomas maintained his spot in the rotation. And I think that is a big thing, is when he had those games, there was kind of, and I mean, me too, it's just like, is this guy actually like really good? Did the Nets just like screw up in not playing this guy? They clearly came to the conclusion that no, he's not. And he's going right back to the end of the bench. So it's not like it's a spot where like he carved out a spot, a role in this rotation. And now the guys ahead of him are out. He's sitting at the end of the bench right next to Patty Mills. And who knows how those minutes are actually going to break down.
He is so scary. Like, I'm getting to him in everything. That scares the shit out of me too. Like, I don't feel comfortable. I gave him those 28 minutes. I like the positionality. I guess I don't even care whether he starts or not. I don't think I care. Just since this game's at 8, we probably won't have that anyway. So whatever I'm doing with this Brooklyn game, I'm probably doing that at 7:30 anyway. So it'll all hash out wherever it lies. What about Curry? Because he's the third most owned guy here. He's basically projected for the same ownership as Cam Thomas. We saw Curry get 22 minutes on Tuesday with all of these guys in. It seems like he's going to play a bunch, but how many minutes are you willing to give Curry here?
I went 28 on him as well, assuming he starts. If you were to get like Cam Thomas starting in place of Curry, I would probably cut Curry to like 24 and go to 30 or 32 on Cam. But assuming Curry starts, I went 28. I didn't go above. So I went 30 minutes on Finney Smith. I went 36 on Bridges. I didn't go higher than 28 on anybody else on this team.
Same. We're exact same situation here. I don't know how you can with any sort of confidence.
Right.
I don't even know who I would pick.
This is like OKC light yesterday, where one, you have a situation where you have no idea what the rotation is going to look like, not because the Nets are particularly inconsistent in the rotation, but we just haven't seen this team with this version of this team. So we don't know what the rotation is going to look like. Then you add in, it's a 10-point spread. Does that mean Milwaukee automatically blows them out? No, it doesn't. And even if they do win by double digits, there's no guarantee that it happens early in the game. It could just be, gets out of hand down the stretch. But that is another variable here where there's a relatively high chance that this game just goes to shit. And, it adds even more volatility to what the rotation looks like. So it was tough. It's tough to like feel comfortable about anybody getting really big minutes outside of like Bridges and to some extent Finney Smith.
What do you want to do with, Sumner if he's starting? Joe Harris is 3,400 shooting guard, small forward, and atrocious. What else do you see from Brooklyn?
Yeah, so I am assuming Sumner starts. I still only went to like 22 minutes on him. That got me like 6% with him projected at 1% owned. Still wouldn't look like a great option, but he is cheap and not particularly popular. So if he starts, I'll take some shots on him. I wasn't getting to a lot of Curry either. I don't know if I specifically mentioned that. I think he's a good value, but again, it's just like if 34% owned Seth Curry has a massive game here against the Bucks, so be it. I'll lose. Like it would be totally different if you had Giannis on this slate or Jokic or Embiid or like these guys that project for 60 DraftKings points. The highest projected guy on the slate right now is just shy of 50 DraftKings points. If the entire field is going to just play guys like Seth Curry, I'm just going to go more balanced and hope that Seth Curry scores like 22 DraftKings points or something and that everybody just wasted a spot in their lineup.
Merrill hit us with the super chat. On FanDuel, I have 100% Cam Thomas. Where can I go in his price range? I mean, he's the clear best option in that range on FanDuel. You've got like Jayshawn Tate's not starting now. He's also 4,700. Grayson Allen's 4,700. That's somebody that's like 8 points away. You're dropping down to centers with like Sharp or Mo Wagner. Seth Curry's 4,200. I mean, I guess that's probably the answer, but you probably are just getting a bunch of Cam Thomas in that.
Yeah,
spot.
I think he's a much better play on FanDuel than he is on DraftKings. If you like just look at our projections and sort by FanDuel salary, and on the right-hand side, we have, points per dollar and value color coded. You have Cam Thomas sitting there in bright green, and then everything around him is just red outside of like Dylan Brooks being a like very light version of green. Then you get down to Wagner and Sharp, but they're not exactly apples to apples. And also you can just play them together. So I get, and also this is a side note, Mo Wagner looks much better on FanDuel than he does on DraftKings. Yeah. Then you get down to Curry at 4,200, but like even that isn't really comparable to Cam Thomas when he's, $500 less. You get a higher ceiling from Thomas. So I think it's a lot more difficult to get away from him on FanDuel than it is DraftKings.
Chris Williams, I'm going to hit that super chat when we get to that game. Let's hit up Milwaukee because we are running short on time. There's not a lot to talk about in Knicks Kings, so that'll be fine. Well, there could be, but there's not right now. No Giannis for Milwaukee. Changes the game up a little bit here. 30% ownership coming into Drew, into Middleton. Another 21% coming into Bobby Portis. I am getting Drew and Middleton in so many lineups, like 70 plus on Middleton, 90 plus on Drew. I'm still getting to 40% of Bobby Portis as well. I don't think Grayson Allen or Brook Lopez are bad plays. What do you like from Milwaukee?
So I'm a little bit lower than you, but still well over the field on Middleton and Holiday right now, getting around 64% Middleton, 57% Drew. Only getting around 10 to 11% Portis, but I still think, he's a perfectly fine play. I'm just not getting quite as much as the field there, but I am getting over on Holiday. I am getting over on Middleton. They both just look good with no Giannis. I'm going under the assumption they both start. If you get a weird lineup where Middleton's back to the bench or for some reason Holiday's coming off the bench, obviously it changes, but assuming they're both starting, they both look really good. Allen, Lopez, both fine, not priorities, but Holiday and Middleton, two of my highest owned guys.
Okay. Lopez, do you think you're getting there? 9% owned right now? Or Allen, 2% owned? Allen, 2% owned. Like, if that's real, that sounds too low.
Yeah, I mean, I got 7% Allen, so it's a spot where, like, yeah, I'm overweight, but it's not going to make or break my night. 2% Ingles, 2% Connaughton, nothing else crazy.
All right. Nothing else from Milwaukee?
No.
So for the Knicks, there's not too much for us to say here. We need news. That's for sure. We got a Q tag on Brunson. That sort of changes everything for the Knicks. It's not as extreme as it was 2 games ago, but it still matters. But for right now, assuming Brunson plays, the highest owned guy on the Knicks is 7% Randall. If you want Randall, Brunson, or Mitchell Robinson, I think that's fine. But there are no priorities for me for New York. I was hoping there would be since it's Sacramento.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good matchup. I'm getting around 19% Randall, 13% Robinson. They're both going to look good even if Brunson is in. And right now I do have Brunson projected in. Robinson doesn't matter. Like Brunson's status doesn't matter to Robinson. Randall looks a little bit better if Brunson is out. The pieces that really change with the Brunson news are RJ Barrett looks better. Emmanuel Quickly looks better. Josh Hart looks better. Hart's pretty cheap still. So I do like him as a value play, especially if Brunson is out. Barrett's at 7K. I don't think he's really playable if Brunson's in, but he's fine if Brunson is out. Same goes for Quickly at 6,600. I like him quite a bit if Brunson is out. I don't think you can get to him if Brunson is in. So Randall and Robinson, good plays for me either way. Hart, Barrett, Quickly, all dependent on Jalen Brunson. And one thing I wanted to mention, I think I forgot it or overlooked it from Brooklyn. I am getting a lot of Mikal Bridges.
Oh, okay. Like how much is a lot?
40%.
Holy shit. Okay.
So like it scares me because of the blowout risk, but also it's just a spot where like he's not getting much ownership. He is going to be out there chucking. And if this game is competitive, there's a very good chance Mikal Bridges is having a massive game.
Do you want anything from the Kings other than like any random starter you get is a reasonable situation?
Highest owned guy from the Kings for me right now would be Barnes at like 8%. Murray showing up 5, Sabonis 2. Sabonis does benefit from this slate in that, again, you don't have Anthony Davis, Jokic, Embiid, any of those guys, but it's still just, it's one of those, like if I were playing more Seth Curry or Cam Thomas or these, Nets that everybody's playing, then I would get the more Sabonis most likely. But because I am going a little bit more balanced, I'm just not getting to that price range.
Chris Williams, super chat, big one. He said, I'm sure these everyday $20 super chats for me are getting annoying. It's your A with a circle around it guy from Apple. Great show as always. Playing Showdown Knicks Kings. Who are y'all's 2 to 3 favorite captains?
Do you have pricing in front of you?
Of course I don't.
You read the super chat before me, so I didn't know if you had it up. I'm pulling it up now.
Likewise.
So Sabonis is a little bit less expensive than Randall. And this obviously hinges on Jalen Brunson news. If Jalen Brunson is in, Sabonis.
Brunson.
He's 9,200.
I mean.
But yeah, I guess that still does look pretty good.
He's the low man of the big 4.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, probably
I like
Sabonis.
him at 9,200 more than I like Fox at 10-2.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, so it's probably Sabonis, Brunson, and then like Randall for me.
Yeah. And if Brunson ends up out, quickly, obviously at 7,400 becomes very different. RJ Barrett at 7,800 becomes very different.
Yep.
There we go. NBA Live Before Lock coming up next. Thank you to Adam for being here. Thank you to Jordan for producing. Hit that like button if you haven't done it already. And thank you to So Rare for sponsoring this show. Good luck, everybody. One more hour until lock. We'll talk to you later. Peace.
Yo, it's that time of week again where we're inducting you fine people into the Stokastic Hall of Fame and giving away some monthly subscriptions to everything on our site, all of our tools right here, just by rocking the Stokastic avatar, finishing top 3 in a field of 5,000 or more, and tweeting your wins to @Stokastic Hall of Fame. You're getting the free month of Stokastic Plus Platinum. You're getting inducted right here. All you got to do is go to stokastic.com/avatar. Rock that avatar wherever it is you play. Tweet your wins at Stokastic Hall of Fame, and we're in business. Just like Ryan did. How do I go about getting that free membership? Thanks for this content, guys. Congrats, man. $4,800 win right there in the fadeaway. Love to see that. 3rd place. And then, how about Arnold? He was on here twice last week. He's on here again this week with a much bigger win than both of those. In the 60K mini max, boom. Thanks, guys. 1st place in the mini max. $3,600 going to Arnold. Congrats, man. Keep that heater going. And Mitchell King was on here last week as well. Hit another one. Moved up to the $1 tournament this time. See, you just keep moving up, man. Then you get those free tools, right? You get the free month, and then you can use them wherever it is you play, no matter the stakes. $2,000 in the end one. Congrats, Mitchell. Keep that going. An ugly 8 game. We've seen him on here plenty of times. Thanks to the great content, Stokastic NBA, and timely news from, the news guy, DFS. Even I can win a free month of Stokastic Platinum. Congrats, dude. And how about Gary Encarnacion? Missed 1st place by just 1 rebound. I'll take it. $400, 2nd place in the NBA shop. Followed up by Samuel Johnson. Had a nice evening. Again, the mini max. And remember, doesn't matter if you're playing $1 entry, quarter, nickel, $20 entry, as long as it's top 3 in a field of 5,000 or more. That is literally all that matters. And you're rocking the Stokastic avatar. Make sure to update it too. Get that new fresh one that you see up here. Samuel Johnson, $283 in the mini max, 1st place. And then you have Paco for OU, $250. My dedication to following the Stokastic Live Before Lock shows pays off. Not a monster score, but not a bad takedown for a quarter investment. There it is. Again, $250 on a quarter. Congrats, man. And Skimmer to wrap this one up. Thanks to Greg Ehrenberg and Neil Orfield for the LBL last-minute advice for 3rd place. Appreciate you. LFG 4K daily dollar. Third place, $125. Congrats to all of you. Remember, download the avatar. Use it wherever it is you play. Hit us up. It's Stokastic HOF and get that free month. Get inducted into the Hall of Fame. Let us do the bragging for you, and let's keep winning.
How hot are they gonna get?
Yeah, like I say, I'll show you hot.
Yeah.
Drop it like it's hot.
What is happening, everybody? Welcome. It is another Stokastic NBA Live Before Lock, and for today, I'm back here joined with my dear friend Eric Lindquist. He was not on the Odd Shopper show today, but if you guys want to catch him on the days he's on there that he's not here, go check out our Odd Shopper YouTube channel. We have a live betting show every day every weekday from 4 to 5 p.m. Eastern time. They're breaking down all of the best bets. Really informative. They're highlighting a lot of the new betting tools we have over at Stokastic. So go check them out. Not now because the show's already over, but other days from 4 to 5 p.m. Eastern time. So go check out our Odd Shopper channel as well. But for right now, we're talking NBA DFS, only a 6-game slate. We've already got some news. Eric, how you doing today?
Doing all right. Yeah, just kind of going through the motions here. It's nice to be back. I took yesterday off. I pulled up Stokastic. I pulled up our projections yesterday, and I saw the OKC situation. If you did the right stuff and you ended up swapping to Phoenix, you still got screwed. So, like, I mean, it would have been all pain for me yesterday. And Al Horford put up another 30 spot as chalk at 20% ownership. So, like, really glad I took the day off. Sometimes the days you don't play feels pretty good. That would be one of them.
Yesterday was quite the slate. And then even like everything went wrong. Even stuff like I had a bet on Brandon Ingram for over 4.5 rebounds. He puts up 4 rebounds in the first like 12 minutes of the game, then gets hurt and doesn't return. And I also had him a bunch in DFS. It was really hard to avoid the landmines yesterday because even like Brandon Ingram was one of my favorite forward plays on the entire slate. Gets off to a great start, gets hurt. Then you get the OKC Phoenix situation, which I think you always have to incorporate there's some chance that the Oklahoma City Thunder are going to do some weird shit when they're a value team.
Sure are.
But they end up getting blown out, and that was also one of the live outcomes in that game. And then the team still ended up being important for yesterday's slate. It was just guys that were like 2 and 3% owned that just totally smashed.
Yeah, thank God. Again, thank God I didn't play yesterday, but excited to be there tonight. I've got 44 lineups ready to rock on DK. Let's do it.
Yeah, and if we look through the injury report that we have right now, the number one key injury, Jalen Brunson, is questionable to play today. There's nobody else that's really crazy pertinent on the injury report. The big one that we're looking at is certainly going to be Brunson, who is questionable. And based on how this is now just going to be me like feeling bad for myself about all of the injury woes I've had as of late, I was crushing in best ball going into the semifinals. Everybody that I've been relying on has gotten hurt in this week. In like the 1 week I need them the most. Based on my current injury luck, Jalen Brunson will not play because I need him to play tonight.
Yeah, it's going to be another spot where, again, what sucks about this slate is that news could very well come out after every other game has locked. So you need a lot of contingency plans. You need to kind of build in. And plus, I think Brunson is the best tournament play on the slate if he does play. It's a Sacramento matchup. He has been up in terms of fantasy point per minute production. He's at a 1.15 on the season. He was really carrying the load for this team, but it's a foot injury and the question marks. And then also, where do you go at 8,400 if he doesn't play? You have to either go up $1,000 to De'Aaron Fox, or you got to go down 1,400 to RJ Barrett in your utilities. So it is a really hard situation, almost like, hey, burn those lineups to the gods in the event that Brunson doesn't play there. You're leaving 1,400 on the table automatically if that's your only lineup spot. So I think it's a tough tournament slate for that reason alone.
Yeah, it's a game that's on an island. We've got Brunson is questionable, and here's what I have right now in my lineups. I've got 5% of Brunson, assuming he plays. And I agree with you. Like, I think he's a good tournament play, but I'm scared shitless to get to a lot more of him because if he doesn't end up playing, there's nowhere to go. So
exactly.
what is your strategy for approaching Brunson and the Knicks in large field tournaments? Because it seems like it's going to be important. The easiest scenario is he just plays and then like Brunson looks pretty good and nobody else on the Knicks becomes, like must-have type plays. So a lot of ways this could go. How are you going to play it?
Yeah, I talked about it there just a second ago, but like you're looking at what your options are available to you. I think just doing some of the math before the show, I was kind of just doing in 2 for 2s. There are ways where if you build in with Harrison Barnes at 5,300, you can get to Malik Monk for 900 less, and you can kind of make some of that work. But now Malik Monk is useless because you have De'Aaron Fox back. He's off the injury report. I think what makes the most sense is try to build in some lineups where you have Fox and Brunson, and then you can turn that into something else ever so slightly. Like there's a chance to go to RJ Barrett, but like quickly at 6,600 is unplayable if Jalen Brunson plays. He's a good play, like not high quality at this point now that it's up to 6,600, but he still played 35 minutes last game. He's still a guy from a fantasy point perspective, is over a fantasy point per minute guy when you take Jalen Brunson off the floor. So like, I don't really know other than to say, again, you just have to sacrifice those lineups to the gods. There's small things you can do where you build in, 3 pieces from that game, but a 2v2 swap is really, really hard.
Yeah. And the other thing too, is just because you mentioned Malik Monk. Malik Monk's been totally useless as of late anyway. Even he played 12 minutes with Fox out last game.
And then it was a blowout and he ends up almost getting there. I saw some tickets because a lot of people, sharp people, were on Prize Picks shorting him. I was one of them. He had 2 minutes that he played in that first half. And then it ends up being a blowout. And I was like, oh God, is he going to get there in blowout time? And he didn't, fortunately. But yeah, useless. 4,400. Again, it's so hard to pull everything off here. At least Davion Mitchell is priced at a spot where it's like you can't use him. And so you're not even going to have to think about it. Like it's got to be something with Herter, Barnes, Keegan Murray, the guys who are actually playing minutes, and then simultaneously swapping it up to Sabonis where you'd get to like 2 of those as opposed to Brunson plus X. But even that doesn't work out perfectly. It's almost like you have to preload 3 pieces. So what I plan to do is that if Brunson doesn't play, I'm just fucked and I have RJ Barrett.
Hey, there's good and bad ways to get fucked. Playing RJ Barrett is not the worst one.
It's not great. Well, I mean, with no Jalen Brunson on the floor, it's worked out pretty well the last couple, but it is not an enjoyable experience knowing that that's the case.
Tell me about it. But I mean, also let's look at some of the super chats that we're getting coming in. If you guys have questions for us in Discord, throw those in as well. But I also want to shout out our sponsor today, So Rare, because if you guys haven't checked out So Rare, it is a really fun card game you play DFS contest with. And if you sign up using the link we have below, after you purchase 5 limited player cards, you're going to get a 6-1 for free. So use our link to sign up. You're not going to find that offer anywhere else. And in the post-lock show, Eric and I are going to be building out some So Rare lineups for tomorrow, because the way the So Rare slates work, there's 2 of them a week. One runs from Monday to Thursday. One runs from Friday through Sunday. So we'll look ahead to the upcoming games. We also have free projections over at Stokastic.com. We'll be looking at some of those to help find who the best plays are overall on So Rare for the upcoming slate. But don't forget that if you're signing up, use our link, get an extra little added bonus there. But super chats here, this one starting with my filler arc. He is asking us, playing with fire, pick one, Brooks or Green. First off, did you see Draymond Green's response to Dillon Brooks?
Yeah, it was incredible. On a podcast. Don't go at somebody who has a podcast who's a better basketball player than you. How about that?
Also, don't go with somebody who's a broadcaster who has a lot more just experience speaking in front of a camera and has a platform, like you said, to actually reach people. Because you get a thing now, Draymond Green does his podcast. I don't know how often he does it, but he does it fairly frequently. He also does the halftime show occasionally for TNT. Who's going to win a war of words, Draymond Green or that moron Dillon Brooks, who's my least favorite player in the NBA? Probably Draymond Green. So you come at the game, you best not miss. And I think Dillon Brooks took shots at the wrong man there. But my filler arc wants to know Brooks or Green. So there's a little bit of a difference in there. Talking about DFS, this is not a war of words. Which of those two options do you prefer?
Out of Dillon Brooks and Draymond Green?
Yeah.
Both of them on Prize Picks today. I ended up actually, so I kind of ingest on Twitter at Eric Lindquist. If you want to go follow me, go follow him at Ehrenberg DFS. But I kind of ingest, Dillon Brooks was at 22 for a fantasy score. Draymond Green's at 29.5. I feel like that's preloading in ejection risk because both of those are a little bit like I have Draymond Green around 33 on FanDuel. I have Dillon Brooks around 25 on FanDuel. That's the scoring that's being used for it. I literally built out a power play with just the two of them with $66.66. I'm playing the devil's game over on Prize Picks today. I should just post that while I'm at it. I think it's pretty funny because I was just like, this doesn't feel good in any way, shape, or form. Backing Dillon Brooks to do good things because he is terrible. He is a terrible, terrible basketball player.
You know what it is a really funny parlay to put together. It's one like, remind me this for baseball. Once baseball starts going, when we get a pitcher who's in some sort of rivalry with a leadoff hitter, like a Jose Urena, Ronald Acuna type situation, this is what we're going to do, Eric. We're going to bet the under on strikeouts for the pitcher and parlay it with the unders for whatever hitter, whatever props are available for the hitter. And then we hope for an ejection on the first pitch of the game.
Yeah, it's good stuff. That's not as good as the Kevon Looney. The Kevon Looney, my friend, 11 minutes, 5 boards. What a smash that was. Jordan Klein, he of little faith down there. Just, you're going to waste my money. Smash fest. How about that?
Yeah, Jordan was starting to get pretty upset.
No, dude, bro, we can't, we can't put 25. No, dude, bro, chill.
No, you don't understand. That's a whole gram and a half a week. Yeah, we get it, Jordan. We're going to make you some more. It's all going to come together.
I can't, anxiety, the dude, bro, come on, chill.
We helped make Jordan some money by predicting that Kevon Looney a couple days ago was not going to play extended minutes, which he didn't. He was on the injury report and then he got taken off. But like I said, they do this thing with Kevon Looney. They're obsessed with keeping this dumb Iron Man streak going, where he's a little bit banged up. They make him play for like 2 rotations, and then his night ends up ending. But I think we should talk a little bit about Jonathan Kuminga, the cum bucket himself. He is not going to be playing. Oh, by the way, an official answer, Draymond Green over Dillon Brooks?
Yes.
Oh, we're on the same page there.
Not that I neither. This doesn't feel good how much of them I have. I just want to point that out there. This isn't going to be an exciting situation. This is going to suck very badly. There are no winners, only losers.
Fair.
Yeah.
But on the other side, I think we should talk about Jonathan Kuminga. Was ruled out shortly before the show started. Does this have any kind of real significant impact for you as far as the Warriors go?
A little bit. Dante DiVincenzo's just been a guy that I've played a lot, I feel, on the last few slates. It's pretty much worked out every single time. I just think he's been playing more minutes than people have been projecting for. He hasn't smashed by any means, 31 and change, 30 and change. But, nothing crazy shows up. Do you have Looney interest? Is that kind of what you're thinking?
I'm going to, because I haven't rerun lineups since we got the news that Kuminga was ruled out. Looney was not on my radar at all. But I do think this makes him at least somebody who potentially is because I have him projected for mid-20s fantasy points now. And he didn't end up. Oh, here he is. He's in a rerunning lineup. He ended up in 5% of lineups for me.
Okay.
All right. So we went from somebody who is not a consideration to now at least makes the cut to being in lineups to some extent, because we just don't have that many front court players that are viable for the Warriors now. Look how thin they are now in the front court, especially with, Wiggins out and Kuminga being out now. We've got Draymond. We've got Looney. JaMychal Green could play minutes. Patrick Baldwin. That's kind of it. Green and Baldwin aren't playing extended minutes. I think it's reasonable to think that Looney has the upside to play upper 20s minutes tonight.
Yeah, I was thinking about it, but I hadn't pulled the trigger yet. He's 5K at a center spot. Like, I feel as though we've had a lot of really good center slates, and today it's just like Dayron Sharp do. Yeah. Like that's the only dude who's up there for me. Bobby Portis. Everybody has power forward eligibility on DK now too, and that's really kind of changed my perception of the position today, where it's like I'm playing a lot of the power forwards there. Yeah, it's there's not a whole lot of opportunity cost at the position, so I don't hate trying to make that a thing. I was thinking about it, but like hadn't really made a decision. Maybe I'll give him a little bit of a bump and see what happens.
Yeah, and then I mean we've got Big Dream $sign right now. He is weighing in Discord chat. He said Wiggins is out, Kuminga is out, Draymond gets tossed. Who other than Looney smashes? Yeah, there is that scenario too. Draymond gets kicked out.
Michael Green, baby.
JaMychal Green, Kevon. I mean, they only got so many guys to go to, and Looney is a better fantasy option than it was in previous years. Once again, I'm not making a start. Like I said, I have 5% of Looney right now, but he is the guy who I think benefits from the absence of Kuminga. And considering this is a 6-game slate, there aren't that many talking points. I do think it's at least legitimate to bring up that I think Looney's in play, and then I'm going to get some exposure to him now. And he could end up starting also.
I mean, Andre Iguodala just having a pulse is kind of a problem though, too, right?
He doesn't have that much of a pulse. I think this is
he's played 15, 12 minutes. I mean, he's basically borderline dead, but like he's still on a basketball floor, probably with 19-minute upside. Like that's what I'm worried about is that Kevon Looney plays like 24 minutes. Can he still do pretty well in that spot? Sure, he can do all right, but like I'm just kind of giving a couple minutes to Anthony Lamb, like nothing crazy because he's been out of the rotation for the most part. Yeah, he was completely out of the rotation last game, but I don't know. It feels as though Kevon Looney, he has to be the main beneficiary, but like I gave a couple minutes to some of these other guys on the bench. They can just do enough where it's annoying to try to make any kind of a stand there. So I'm with you. I just reran it where I ran him with 27 minutes just to see what happens. I only got 8% of him.
Now, do you think Looney starts tonight?
See, that would change my perception. They've been doing more of that. He had been starting until that OKC game. So I think he plays. I mean, he was limited, and maybe they just decided, again, that streak, you pretty much called it 11 minutes, very, very limited. If he starts, everything I say changes, and we should have that news before we get off this show. There's only 3 games to lock, and then you have the 3 rest of them to filter out lineups, but I have enough Memphis. I have a lot of Brooklyn like everybody else, a lot of Milwaukee like everybody else. It shouldn't be that hard to be able to react to that starting lineup.
Yeah, and I'm, by the way, under the assumption Looney starts. If he doesn't, then it would definitely change for me. But last game was basically rest, as far as I'm concerned. This is how they handle Looney's minutes for rest for whatever reason. They're obsessed with that dumb streak. But he had started 6 games in a row before that. So I tend to think he goes back in the starting line. If he doesn't,
yeah, I think so, but we'll know that.
Yeah, this is true. We will know. And stick around, guys. We've got our post-lock show that we're going to be doing as well after the main slate locks. Now let's look at some more of the questions we got. This one is Eric's Tiers. Eric's Tiers. So your Tiers asking us a question. Where'd it go? Here we go. Last spot on DK, Şengün or Oubre?
I don't like either today, which is kind of weird. Like Şengün pops in our projections. I just have enough issue with the volatility of the minutes, whether it's tanking or whether it's something where Silas actually thinks Şengün shouldn't be out or shouldn't be out there to close games because he's a defensive liability. I don't know what to make. I think it's more tanking, but like I like Alperen Şengün as a talent very, very much, but 7,400, at least one of Jalen Green, Kevin Porter Jr., when they're in there, that assist rate comes down. There's not as much upside. I'm not in love with the play at 7,400. The price tag went up a little bit more there. I currently have 0, which is weird for me because I feel like I've been a Şengün stan forever. And then for Kelly Oubre, I just think that price has gotten to a place at 7,500 where I would rather go a lot of other places. I feel much better about the value we have from Brooklyn, Milwaukee, and also the upside pieces, the Drew Holidays that are kind of in that same price range. 7,500 for Kelly Oubre. I mean, you're still really, really needing to see 36, 38 minutes and a smash there. And I don't think that continues long-term.
So this is a 1v1 and it's just you feel good about the rest of your lineup, last man, in which it appears that's what this question is. The answer is Şengün, but at the same time, I'm on the same page as Eric, whereas neither of these guys are priorities for me. I'm well underweight to the field on both of them. So the answer, just from a projection standpoint, is going to be Şengün. I don't love either of them, but I don't also find there's anybody 7,500 or below that I prefer for the utility spot.
Yeah, I'm looking 74, 73, kind of like what else I would recommend for you. I mean, Chris Middleton's awesome, but he's going to be popular 31%.
He's already, I'm going to assume he's already in his lineup. It's reasonable to think he already is Middleton.
Yeah, agreed. So, I mean, Jordan Poole's not playing enough for me. RJ Barrett is completely dependent on news that we don't have. Jaden Ivey is now up to 6,900. I would rather play Kelly Oubre than Jaden Ivey, leaving 500 on the table. But like, I think Jaden Ivey's the better play if you take salary out of play. Like if you're just talking about like, I'm going to use that $500 elsewhere in my lineup. So yeah, Şengün and Oubre, I'm really not getting to today.
And the next question we have here is from James Magruder. He just wants to know who's the best value on the DK slate. So answer this however you want, Eric. Who's the overall best value?
Day'Ron Sharpe, pretty clearly, assuming that he starts for Nicholas Claxton. I don't see how that isn't the correct answer. He's a flat 3K. He's over a fantasy point per minute guy. There's no way that I won't have 100% of him, assuming he starts.
I have the most of anybody on the slate, Day'Ron Sharpe, by a pretty wide margin. He's in all my lineups right now, and same. I'm pretty sure we've had previous Day'Ron Sharpe slates where I think I've had him 100% of them every time he started this year, which has only been off the top of my head twice.
It's gone well.
Both times it went well. Both times it was also really chalky. It's not like I gained any kind of massive advantage on the field, but the two starts this year for Day'Ron Sharpe, one against the Indiana Pacers, plays 32 minutes, scores 40 fantasy points. Then last one, he plays 28 minutes and scores 26 fantasy points. And he kind of sucked in that game, but it didn't matter. When you're min price and you're a good points per minute fantasy producer, it's just really hard to fail. By the way, Jordan, the thing I sent you is going to be tied into the next super chat that we got. This is from Kren, Florida Realtor, who drew a picture of Eric and I earlier in the day with EMAC in the background. And he left us a super chat as well. So, Jordan, if you wouldn't mind throwing that up on the screen so people could see what Kren, Florida Realtor drew for. I don't know if I'm doing an ad for some business he has, but on FanDuel, Dame, like you said at the end here, I hope you like the quickie drawing. So that's why I assumed that it was him who sent it to us.
You're now taller than me, so that's incredible.
Yeah, Eric is considerably taller than me. Not in this picture, though.
Are you standing on your third leg? That's what's happening. You're on your third leg.
I think I'm standing on Jordan in the picture. I think we just have Jordan laying on the ground. I'm standing on top.
Let me get a lick of your polo stick. Oh, yeah, Jordan Klein. You're naughty. You're a naughty boy.
The only thing that was the main thing to me that was missing from the picture I would have liked to see, and we were texting about this too, the bobsled.
Yep.
The bobsled would have been key for the picture. Would have liked to have seen that. But also, Kren, you didn't have to draw us a picture and leave a super chat. We appreciate all of it, though. But,
you get this.
Yeah, exactly. He's part of the team now. Tip to three-way sword fight. Tip to tip to tip.
I do like that EMAC is basically the creepiest person I've ever seen in my entire life. In the corner of that. I mean, he's been doing that since 1834. So it's nice to see that we finally recognize that EMAC is as cringy as it gets. Eric's so cringy. It's all an illusion.
Yeah, this is I wouldn't.
Why am I dressed like Fred Flintstone? That's my main question. When have I ever worn that? Am I going bowling? Am I going to a Flintstone reenactment convention? Why am I wearing 3 shirts? It's another great question.
In the picture, Eric is wearing a sweater, a collared shirt underneath, and then an undershirt underneath there. So we don't have to worry about him being cold. And depending how you look at it, I believe there's also hockey stick up his ass. So that is the attire that Eric is wearing. And is that not what you saw in the picture?
That is exactly what I saw. Oh yeah, no, it's it's one of those slanted. I chopped it in half and bent one. I get it because you prefer it sharp. I understand. I know your tendencies. You wanted to make sure it was jagged on the end.
He also left us a DFS question in addition to the picture he drew. So on FanDuel, Dame, Price, Tillman, or Bagley? Price. What does he mean by Price?
We love you, EMAC. You creepy man, you.
On FanDuel, Dame, Price, Tillman, or Bagley? Also, the Blazers don't play on the slate.
Yep, that makes it tough.
All right, so I guess this question is Tillman or Bagley, right? I assume, and the other part was just a spelling error. So we'll go Tillman versus Bagley. Who do you prefer on FanDuel? Let me look. For myself, by the way, in the lineups I ran on FanDuel, I got to 18% Bagley, 16%. I think they're very, very close. I'm going to answer Tillman just because he's projected for less ownership.
I've been playing a lot of Tillman pretty much every slate. Exactly what I said before. When Brandon Clark went out, I felt like they were going to give him extended minutes. That's exactly what's happened. He's really their only big body until Steven Adams gets his ass back in there. So Xavier Tillman, 5,900, wild to say, but I still like him. And he's gained power forward eligibility from the Clouds, so that's always nifty.
And by the way, good point. People bring it up in chat. He meant to say same price. I was looking at his Dame price, but same price. Yeah, that would make a lot more sense. Should have figured out, especially because Tillman and Bagley do have the same price. So Tillman, for me, I think they're very similar. I'm going to go with Tillman because he is quite a bit lower owned.
Cool.
The next question we have is from our guy, Ace of Spade. And I see his name pop up. I don't even need to know more. I know what the question is. He's asking about DK tiers. I always come prepared to answer his question every day. Here are the players I got the most of, tier by tier over on DraftKings. Tier 1, Domantas Sabonis. Tier 2, Tyrese Halliburton, edging out Lauri Markkanen. Tier 3 is De'Aaron Fox. Jalen Brunson would be a really interesting play there if he ends up going. Nobody's going to roster him in tiers, but for all intents and purposes for this, De'Aaron Fox, I do prefer. Tier 4, Drew Holiday in the absence of Giannis Antetokounmpo. Tier 5, Chris Middleton in the absence of Giannis Antetokounmpo. And then tier 6 is Bobby Portis in the absence of Giannis Antetokounmpo. So a lot of Bucks guys in there who are really hard to avoid tonight.
I love that Bobby Portis has played like absolute shit lately because I have so much of him on this slate. It's not even funny.
It's an interesting reason to be happy he's playing like shit.
I'm so happy he's been playing like garbage because now is the time. Now is the dance. He's going to live every moment, leave nothing to chance right here. Bobby Portis, 6,600. Price has gone up a little bit. 1.2 fantasy point per minute producer. Nobody wants to play him. He is sub 25%. I expected him to be one of the highest known players on this slate. He's just outside of the top 5, I suppose, but like this is still not enough ownership on him. I can't believe nobody wants to be clicking on his name today.
I mean, to say nobody's clicking on his name, I wouldn't.
Less than a quarter of lineups is wild.
But so I'm playing a bunch of Bobby Portis today.
Good.
The one question I have about the Bucks is all these guys look good. Drew Holiday looks good. Chris Middleton looks great. Bobby Portis also looks great. Are you cool with playing all three of them in the same lineup though?
Hell yeah. I mean, this is one of those classic slates where it's like, if people are hand building or if they're even in an optimizer where they're going to put a 3 max on it, I'm okay getting to $4. I'm okay getting to 3 pieces of Brooklyn. Like that game is just incredible. Oh my God.
All right. We just got this. So this net starting lineup, this is going to derail everything. This is
pieces of absolute dog doo-doo crap, mother truckers.
Absolute nonsensical starting lineup. I was kind of curious what was going to happen because Cam Thomas has fallen out of the rotation entirely at this point. He has been terrible.
What are we doing though here? Also, if you bet Mikal Bridges over points props, you feel pretty great about your life right now.
Or if
that is a lot of usage coming off the floor.
So earlier in the day, one of our top projected props on NBA Bet Pro, which by the way, if you guys want a free trial to it, use the link below, 7 days for free. Our number 1 rated prop earlier in the day was Mikal Bridges for over four assists on Prize Picks, over 4.5 assists at other books where it was plus money. He's going to have the ball in his hands a lot in this lineup and is definitely going to have to facilitate. But just to read off so people are understanding of what it is that we are talking about today. The net starting lineup, and there was a lot of ownership projected to this team. We had Cam Thomas projected to be super popular, Day'Ron Sharpe. Eric and I were just talking about, we were thinking about playing 100% Day'Ron Sharpe. Well, now we got this absolute nonsensical starting lineup from the Nets, which is Seth Curry, Joe Harris, Mikal Bridges, Dorian Finney-Smith, and Nerlens Noel at center. So, Eric, what are we doing here?
I mean, we're not happy, but I think Day'Ron Sharpe isn't going to change. I think I'm still going to play a lot of Day'Ron Sharpe. Nerlens Noel hasn't played over 21 minutes yet once this entire season. I know that most of that was with Detroit. He played the one game, played 18 minutes 2 days ago. But Why would you, Brooklyn? What are we doing here? Also, you should go to Prize Picks. You should go to books. They're not going to react to this kind of a news the way that we are. You should be jamming Mikal Bridges 4 assists for 25.5 points. I know that looked like an under before. It looks like an over now to me. Cam Thomas is usage off the floor. I don't really know what to say about this. I mean, for me, Nerlens Noel, now we at least have to be considering this. Him and Day'Ron Sharpe, do we want to play them in the same lineup? I'm inclined to say it's okay because of the price points, but like, this is just a headache I didn't want.
The over-under for Cam Thomas's points, just pulled up FanDuel really quick, is 18.5. I'm taking the under on that right now.
Yeah, they don't even have him available on Prize Picks right now, which sucks.
I mean, it's also there. I get that he's been ridiculous in some of these situations, but he's fallen out of favor with the Nets coaching staff. It's not even just that he's not starting today. He's been a DNP. He's played a total of 14 minutes across the last 3 games, something like that.
DNP, not dynamite. How about that? That was a good one.
That was a good one. I could get behind that. What are you going to do with Cam Thomas in tournaments now, though?
I don't know yet. Might have to nut up and shut up and just click the name and hold your nose. And I don't know. I mean, this is just bad, dude. This is just bad. I mean, really part curious. Of it, I think Dorian Finney-Smith ends up being the guy that benefits. I mean, Mikal Bridges, obviously, 8,500. I'm going to get to more of him now because you take Cam Thomas, who traditionally is a fantasy point per minute guy. I'm just changing some of the rates here right now as I'm going across because I'm going to take Cam Thomas from 29.5 minutes to like 20. I'm going to go to like 18 or 20 probably. I don't know what else to do, but like Dorian Finney-Smith, I'm going to give a tiny uptick to. I'm going to put him at like 34, 36. We know he can play the minutes and he's already just a dude who was like lineup filler before, but like now without everybody looks better in that starting unit. Joe Harris, this is going to be gross. We have him at 24 minutes. Do we go to like 30, 32 on Joe Harris? Because he's going to show up a lot at 3,400 and he's got the shooting guard small forward utility you want. I also want to say, and this might just be me, how many minutes do you think Edmund Sumner can play? Because I think Edmund Sumner has been ahead of Cam Thomas in the rotation. And if we assume Cam Thomas is going to possibly get a majorly diminished role, at least Edmund Sumner's been playing like 16, 18 minutes. I think Edmund Sumner is probably the tournament play that you need to have more exposure to now.
I'm so unsure of what to expect from this team's minutes right now. I want to look at our projections when they get updated and see what we end up doing with the Brooklyn Nets. But
here's the thing. A projection's only going to go so far for you here because you have to kind of just guess what's going to happen. They're also massive dogs here. So there's a world where Cam Thomas plays 12 minutes in the fourth. You know what I mean? Like he's still going to show up in lineups for me. I'm not going to disregard a guy who has gone out and proven he likes the old usage when it's all to himself there. 42.5%, 39.4, 33. Now, all of that was without Bridges. So I want to be first clear that like that was before Bridges and Cam Johnson joined the party. But like, I do think I'm serious. I think Edmund Sumner is the guy that I'm going to project for more minutes than Cam Thomas now. And it doesn't feel good. But I think that's your super low owned net that nobody's going to click on.
And then what are you going to do with it? Well, I mean, I know Nerlens Noel, I'm not going to be interested. Jordan, do me a favor. Pull our projections up on the screen. We just got them updated. I'm looking through them. And I would like to show the people where we are at now projecting everything over on the site. And I do think that this part makes sense where we have this as a timeshare at center between Day'Ron Sharpe and Nerlens Noel. We give 25 to Noel, 21 minutes to Day'Ron Sharpe. By the way, that ends up with Sharpe being higher projected than Noel. We end up with Sharpe in 21 minutes projecting for 25 fantasy points, and then Nerlens Noel in 25 minutes projects for 22 fantasy points. These are the minutes allocations that we ended up projecting everybody for. Mikal Bridges is by far the player that we could feel the best about the minutes to. But at the same time, too, he's so expensive. I'm not dying to play him in DFS tonight.
I kind of am.
Really?
8,500. Yeah. So Mikal Bridges, this is more of like making wild assumptions, but like he's had 26.4, 26.9 and 30.9% usage alongside Cameron Johnson. Now, Cameron Johnson's off the floor. That guy's had 30.5, 29.3, 19.20. So it went down a little bit the last couple, but like you are taking somebody who's been higher usage and you're replacing them with the Joe Harris, who that usage has been way down all season long. Like for the season, his usage has been 14.6%. That is a drastic difference than what you would expect on somebody like Cameron Johnson, who under all circumstances, 21.6, but it's been up since his time in Phoenix, obviously. So like, I will say, I think that Mikal Bridges is the funnel. Like it's like a funnel, like a running back funnel. Derrick Henry handed off. Like Mikal Bridges, he's been attempting more shot attempts. He's 8,500. I have a lot of Milwaukee exposure. I want to bring some guys along for the ride from Brooklyn. At 12.6%, I was already planning to be a little bit overweight, but like that was alongside Cameron Thomas, who's had a 24.4% usage on the season. You now have Dorian Finney-Smith, 13, Nerlens Noel, 17, which is high and not what I would expect for him long-term under these circumstances. 14.6 with Joe Harris. Like again, Edmund Sumner coming off the bench, 21% usage this season. That's the dude that I'm targeting if I'm going to be lower on Cam Thomas.
What about Seth Curry, though? Like, I really want to see
I hate how much Seth Curry I have now. I hate it.
And maybe I'm wrong. We'll get an ownership update and we'll see where Seth Curry ends up coming. But to me, I think he's just the safest guard here now. Like we talk about Cam Thomas, we talk about Edmund Sumner. Seth Curry is starting. He's really cheap and he's done fairly well at other points in times in this situation. I just feel good about Seth Curry, his minutes, his price point. I think he's the guy I want to get to the most as far as the backcourt players are concerned for the Nets.
Yeah, I refreshed everything. I have a ton of him. But again, I'm trying to find some tournament plays because I think Seth Curry was a guy, I was a little bit underneath the field on him. Now I am over 30.3% pretty easily when you update everything for rates. Again, you take Cam Thomas off a floor. I don't know what to make of those minutes. I don't really think anybody knows what to make of those minutes. It might be a hot hand approach. It might be if they get off to a slow start, bring Cam Thomas off the bench to play more. It might be kind of a game script type scenario where if things are going well, if Joe Harris starts off hot, we know that he can be a good shooter, not this year, but he's been a good shooter over the course of his career. That's what he got paid to do there. Dorian Finney-Smith, just because he's going to be on the floor so much more than I expected before. I mean, I've got him in now for 34 minutes. That's going to be popping for me. As you said, Seth Curry, 3,500. It's a great price point. He doesn't have to contest with a Cam Thomas now. It makes all the sense in all the land. Point guard, shooting guard eligibility. You can play him in the 4 different spots. Everything looks nice there, but I gotta say, it doesn't feel good.
Yeah, and we're going to be getting ownership updates shortly as well. The projections are updated. If you guys want access to all of that, sign up using the link we have below. 50% off any package you sign up for over at Stokastic.com. If you want to sign up for an NBA package, you're going to get access to player projections, ownership projections, the boom bust tool, our NBA lineup generator, which also updates as all of our projections and ownership updates. You get that for less than $5 if you sign up using the promo code in the link we have below. So go check that out. If you guys want to get access behind the paywall, we now have cheap options. Like I said, lineup generator, less than $5 to get in the door. Some questions that we have via super chat and then some more Discord questions that we'll go back and answer. This is from Eric's Tiers. Here's $5 for that solid AC/DC parody by Eric.
What? Well, thank you. But News God just sent me something. Did you see this Jock Vaughn quote?
Jock Vaughn said it's probably not a full workload for Mikal Bridges tonight. Nets are starting Curry, Harris, Bridges, DFS, and Noel.
You got to be flying. I mean, what are we doing here with our lives? Why are we doing this? Thank you, News God. But why do I have to deal with this bullshit today? I've dealt with enough bullshit today. I don't want to deal with bullshit.
Yeah, and a lot of it's come from me. But
it really has.
But I think this makes Mikal Bridges unplayable. He's so expensive as is also.
I have so much prop exposure to him now in the last. Oh, great. I'm very excited. This is so dumb.
And then we've got a super chat from SMP 1993 concerned that Sharp DNPs as they go Noel, Utah, DFS at center. I'm not concerned that he DMPs. I'm concerned he doesn't play a massive amount of minutes. I'm not concerned about him just outright DMPing. Are you?
Nope.
I hope not. Boy, that'd be terrible for me tonight. I'm still playing him. I don't like him quite as much as I did before, but still playing him. My fellow arc theory: Bridges will be pulled only in for only in for the Iron Man streak. Maybe don't take overs.
What? He didn't play a couple games. Are we talking about games that he would only be active for? He's not in an Iron Man. Are we talking Looney? Are we talking what? There's no Bridges Iron Man streak.
Yeah, Bridges already missed games.
Yeah, what are we talking about there? Bridges has missed games and he's sat out spots and he got traded and didn't play for 9 days.
He's not missed any games due to injury, but he missed games due to the trade. So
Correct.
like that, he already has 2 missed games for the year.
So that would be weird to care about that.
They might just manage his minutes like Jock wants it in general. It's very live to happen. I don't think he goes out and plays 18 minutes today.
I think it completely depends on if they're getting their absolute butts spanked or not. Like, I bet he still could play 32, 34 minutes in the event that it's a competitive game. God, I have to get repositioned. I'm not having fun. I'm straight up not having a good time.
It's the Nets. It's weird. It's you know what this is unfortunate big vibes of? This feels very much like OKC yesterday.
No, see, the difference is that at least we have this news before lock. Yesterday, it was just like, I looked at the projections. I was like, I'm not going to deal with chalk OKC on a day that I'm not on live before lock. I just refuse to do that to my mental health. Like, I really, really do not regret that decision, even if I thought I had gotten something right. And then I saw Al Horford was over 20% in the $15 and smashed. So could not have been happier. And then I would have pivoted to all Phoenix and everybody failed except for Booker.
Some more questions in our Discord. And then don't forget, guys, 30 minutes after lock, we're going to be sticking around. We are going to be talking about whatever it is that goes down. Maybe we'll get some more news on the Nets also in that final 30-minute show. But also, we're going to be looking at So Rare, who is sponsoring our show today. And if you guys haven't signed up there, they have games that are totally free to play. We're going to be doing some fun community stuff with So Rare starting, I believe, next week as well. But if you guys want to sign up at So Rare, use the link we have below. You purchase 5 limited player cards, and you're going to get a 6th one for free. So go check out So Rare. Our questions we have in Discord for us, where I was about to answer them, and then we got kind of off tracked by just a bunch of nonsense, and that's starting lineup in general. But this is
Kevin Durant out for 2 weeks with the floor slip. My God.
We only have 12 minutes left, or else I'd go off on this. But there was this beat reporter for the Suns that wrote an absolute inane article that got picked up by people yesterday, where the guy had said that basically, like, if this is a grade 2 ankle sprain, then the recovery time is 4 to 6 weeks, which would mean that Kevin Durant could miss the rest of the regular season, potentially the start of the playoffs. And then people wrote this out as if it was like actual reporting. The guy was just speculatively saying, like, if this ends up being a grade 2 ankle sprain, these are things that could potentially happen. And then people are like, oh my God, Durant's going to miss the start of the postseason. We'll see what happens. But anyway, some questions to answer in Discord. Sam Cassell Dance, do you care to share a power forward play on DraftKings that you feel relatively confident in?
Power forward, a
Portis.
lot of them. Bobby Portis, my favorite.
Bobby Portis.
I have
sure.
How many fantasy points do you have him projected for? Because I have him at 40, and I feel like I'm the highest out of anybody on earth.
I have Bob Portis for 36.1.
Okay, I have more. So he is in everything that I'm doing. 78% of him.
Still makes him look pretty good, though.
Oh, yeah.
But Bobby Portis, my most rostered power forward. Noah, 1 player to lock. It was going to be Day'Ron Sharpe, but it's no longer Day'Ron Sharpe. If I had to pick
I still
one player,
really like Day'Ron.
Not as a lock, though.
No, he's not a lock now.
Chris Middleton, if I had to lock one player.
I definitely would. I would go Drew Holiday. I'll go Drew.
FanDuel GPP 2v2, Rozier and Crowder, or Poole and Tillman. Both lineups have Oubre also. I guess Poole and Tillman. I don't love either of those combinations. Poole and Tillman over Rozier and Crowder, though.
Yes.
Next question is from Jets World. Oh, well, he asked this before. He wanted to know what we think the Nets starting lineup will be. Well, I'll tell you what, I wouldn't have guessed it correctly. Oh, by the way, he actually guessed it correct. Listen to this. He said, I'm thinking the starting lineup may be Curry, Bridges, Sumner, Harris. Well, he gave 6
He missed Sumner.
But either way, he said Curry, Bridges, Sumner / Harris, DFS, and Noel.
That's Sharp.
That's pretty impressive.
That's pretty good. I would not have gotten this one correct. That is for damn sure.
No, I think I might have been able to hit on Cam Thomas, but I would not have hit. I was positive Daron Sharp was starting at center.
And he is not. But now, again, there are some weird things that Brooklyn could do. I don't know if they're just sold to like a center, like 48 minutes of Noel and Sharp. I think that's my biggest concern and why I'm not just jamming Daron Sharp. I have 40% right now. I think I'm going to keep it right there.
The next question that we have here is from Iron Man. Do you think Bridges is getting slept on? I wouldn't be shocked if he was mid to high 9K range with all those guys out. Just because of the concerns about the minutes restriction, no.
Yeah. Thank you, News God.
T. Lee, position by position on DK. So here are the players I get the most exposure to right now. Point guard is Drew Holiday and Jalen Green for me. How about you at point guard?
Let me just finish this Nets.
Okay,
crap.
good. I could just answer it.
Give me one. I'm running 500 quick.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna sort it.
All
right, I'm ready. Go ahead.
Jalen
right. Green, Drew Holiday, Seth Curry.
Okay, and then shooting guard. We're gonna have like all the same guys here.
Yeah, I don't like the Jalen Green being more than Drew Holiday. I need to fix something quick, but I had to get something out here for you quick. Jalen Green, Desmond Bane, Taylor Horton Tucker there for me at shooting guard.
Yeah, Jalen Green and Seth Curry for me. I'm totally cool with a lot of Jalen Green, by the way. There's no Kevin Porter Jr., good matchup against the Pacers, so I'm sure the Rockets will just go out and get stomped again. Small forward is Chris Middleton and Lauri Markkanen for me right now.
Lauri Markkanen, THT, Joe Harris. And Chris Middleton there too.
Power forward, Bobby Portis, also Lauri Markkanen. Tari Eason I'm getting a decent amount of as well.
Portis by a mile, Lauri Markkanen, Dorian Finney-Smith.
And then center, Bobby Portis, Daron Sharp, and then I don't really have anybody else I get a lot of exposure to that is center eligibility.
Yeah, it goes Tillman, Green, Bagley, Mo Wagner. Like I'm just getting an assortment of dudes below it.
Okay, let's see what else we got as far as questions go. We got opposite XO here. Thoughts on Knicks at min price and starting? I think he's a good pivot off of some of the Nets guys now.
Who is?
Daishen Nix.
Yeah, Daishen Nix is a guy that I think I talked you into playing a lot of him one slate, and it worked out pretty nicely for both of us. He started kind of out of the clouds. I don't know, what was it? It was like OKC. It was that OKC Houston game.
It was the game against Denver. He was okay. So what happened in that game is he started really well, and then the game was a blowout, and for whatever reason, he didn't play garbage.
That's right. Yeah, and it didn't hurt you at 3K, but like it wasn't a winning play. That's for sure.
Yeah. But I mean, we've seen him start before, and I do think there's an intention to play him more minutes should the game be competitive. But that was just not what ended up happening on that particular day.
The road to hell is paved with good intentions, Greg.
Exactly. Not always, though. Sam Van Dam, not super important, but the league approved that Bridges missed games from the trade do not count against him. Streak lives. Oh, okay. I wasn't aware of that.
Stupid. He missed games in my mind. Did he play?
I'm back, no, Jay, I'm back from jail, Greg. Kings versus Knicks showdown. I'll answer that right after we get to lock, just because there's a bunch of other questions now that are a little bit more pressing. We've got DC24. Greg, did you take Kessler over blocks plus 120 on DK? Didn't yet. Good chance I will later, though.
Yeah, I saw it was on NBA Bet Pro as a really, really good play. You guys want to be checking that out daily.
Yeah, I bet Walker Kessler's blocks usually every single time that he plays, and it's plus money. I was just busy today and haven't really gotten to bet stuff outside of what I had in my betting video earlier.
I have 28% Edmund Sumner. I just want to throw that out there.
Walker Kessler is in, by the way, and he's been blocking shots like a madman as of late.
Like a crazy person.
Let me look at the messages I got from Jordan and just go through the super chats to make sure I got to all of these. We did the DC one.
I really hate this slate now. Now I'm playing James Wiseman at center. Why am I playing James Wiseman at center? I hate myself. I hate this game. I hate it.
Probably because you're not a wise man. If I had to guess.
If I was a wise man.
If you were a wise man, you would not play James Wiseman.
Well, I'm going to. So there we go. Also, Jalen Brunson, 15% of lineups. Those are gone.
You're not playing him anymore?
Oh, I know. I'm playing him at 15% of lineups, but like I totally expect him to not play now. That'll be fun.
Some more questions to answer in Discord before we get to lock. CSLELTST.
What?
Listen, that's what he landed on as a Discord name. Rozier or Bridges at shooting guard? It has to be Rozier for me at this point.
Yeah, Rozier. I got, 4 minutes to fix everything? That's great. We're doing great, sweetie. Good job, Eric.
Seth1374. Crazy Thursday night. Going to bury a hooker that my wife's boyfriend accidentally strangled. Who's your favorite center on FanDuel?
Boy, I don't like this bit anymore.
Yeah, I feel like are we accessories now in some way?
Yeah, I know. He's like, I made a joke, and then there's a Netflix documentary, and we're featured in it.
Yeah, it's
him. Fun.
But you know what's actually going to be funny about it is they're not going to realize he isn't EMAC because on all social media platforms, his profile picture is EMAC.
It's your old pal EMAC.
Yeah. So that was a little bit of your Roslyn impression.
PGA DFS golf fans.
Yeah, I like it. Somehow EMAC became it was just a tame Jason Roslin. Anyway,
why is Jordan Klein so unenthusiastic? This has been a high voltage show with lots of news. I've been pretty focused. I need you on my level. Why are you being such a little you know what?
That's a good point.
Shut up.
Oh my
Stop
God.
It. Cheer
what
up.
What do you have sad to be about?
What do you have sad to be about? What the English in the world?
What do you have sad to be about, Jordan Klein? Oh, that is true. That is true.
What happened?
His internet just doesn't work, and we had to kick him off some shows.
Also, I have 6% Kelly Oubre to whoever said before that I just hated him and I didn't have any. Now I have 6%, so wanted to amend that too. Always got to double back on myself.
Favorite center play on FanDuel. So now that all the news has settled, who would you call your favorite center option on FanDuel? For me, it is Bobby Portis.
Yes. Same. Just pulled it up.
All right, there you go, Seth. I hope you make enough money to pay all of your lawyer fees that are going to be in your near future.
Enjoy that. Congratulations on the fun.
All right, that answers all the questions that we have in Discord. Let me double check and make sure that there are no YouTube questions that I missed. Oh, here one. Corey Bomber, Brooke Lopez, revenge, or Tyus Jones on DK? Who do you have more exposure to, Tyus Jones or Brooke Lopez?
You mean revenge for the best years of his career? That's weird. I have more Tyus Jones.
Yeah, it's Tyus Jones for me as well.
I don't have a ton of Tyus Jones today, which is weird because I'm generally the leader of the Tyus Jones is not a downgrade from John Morant fan club. Not like in a crazy way. Like obviously John Morant does it completely. Well, he's a downgrade, but I'm saying that like they do things completely different. Tyus Jones is like Alex Smith, whereas like John Morant is Patrick Mahomes. That's the best analogy I have for it.
No, that makes sense. Like the way you originally phrased it, I think people are going to take issue where you say,
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that it's not like it's some incompetent point guard. He's the best backup point guard in the league.
Fair. No, I think that's totally fair way to go about it. But I do like Tyus Jones today. There's other guards I get to more of him. I have more of Drew Holiday, I have more of Jalen Green, more of Seth Curry. But like he's like the next tier of guards that I get to in terms of what my exposures are.
There we go. That's a better way of saying it. Sorry.
And we are just about heading to lock. But guys, don't leave. Stick around. Eric and I are going to be here for another 30 minutes. We're going to be tilting whatever other nonsense happens in today's NBA slate. And it seems like there's going to be a lot of it because for whatever reason, NBA kind of parlays nonsense together. I don't know if you ever get this feeling, but like last night, for instance, one guy gets injured, therefore like 6 other guys have to follow suit. It's the same sort of thing. Today, one team puts out a nonsensical starting lineup. Another one has to do it. Some weird stuff is going to go down. It's just the way it goes. So you guys should be sticking around for the next 30 minutes. Eric and I are going to be talking about all the news as well as So Rare, who is sponsoring our show today. But first, I want to answer the super chat of our friend Jay, who wanted to know who the best plays are in the showdown contest between the Knicks and the Kings. And let's answer this a couple different ways, Eric, because the game is very far out. And especially for showdown, it is massively, massively important whether Jalen Brunson ends up playing or not. So I'm going to run lineups right now with Jalen Brunson in. But in the interim, who are the players that he should keep his eye on from the Knicks if Brunson does not end up playing?
Yeah, let me pull up DK Showdown here too while I'm at it. I might as well just jump over. I have half an hour to make any adjustments. We're at lock, so not a big deal. But in the event that he's out, the 2 major beneficiaries right off the top. Emmanuel quickly, RJ Barrett, they've been going nuts. But when you have this extra salary to be working with, I feel as though Julius Randle, because he hasn't completely set the world on fire the last few, might get a little bit of a downgrade. And I obviously project him for more fantasy points. So Julius Randle, as I'm looking at it for Showdown, he's 10-8. You've got at the top end, so that's 16-2. He's the most expensive captain. I feel as though I would project him for the most fantasy points in the entire game if Brunson's out still. So De'Aaron Fox gets back in the mix. Sabonis does too. But like, I think I would find paths to get to Julius Randle in the MVP spot the most. But yeah, Emmanuel quickly, even though he's the 6th most expensive player on that slate now, really like getting to him as a captain option, but think he'll end up being pretty popular without one Jalen Brunson if that ends up coming to fruition.
Yeah, and going through, because now I built lineups, and by the way, this is assuming that Jalen Brunson plays. He's one of the most rostered players I got to. So the captains I got to most frequently, number 1 was Sabonis. Number 2 was the aforementioned Julius Randle, who would only look better if Brunson is rolled out. Then in terms of the flex plays that I got the most of, or utility plays, over for the DraftKings Showdown game between the Kings and the Knicks, I got to a ton of Jalen Brunson. A whole bunch of Jalen Brunson as a utility option. Got to a bunch of Mitchell Robinson for cheap. Got to Malik Monk for cheap, which I am not comfortable with at all. But there are just not that many cheap players that stand out. He's only 4,400 in Showdown. He's a really high upside play. I don't know what to make of his minutes, but he didn't. Not only did he not benefit with De'Aaron Fox out, can you explain how he played less minutes with Fox out somehow?
Because the world is an illusion and we aren't supposed to be here.
Exactly. That's the exact reason that we saw less minutes for Malik Monk. But I do think, at least for a 1-game slate, I like the upside. He's only 4,400. Ended up getting to him as a value option, as I did with Josh Hart, who is not playing a massive role with the Knicks, but is playing enough to where you look at him in a showdown contest where he's 6,000, on like the cheapish end of the mid-range. And I think he looks good there. So those are the players that ended up getting to the most often, Jay. I hope that helps you build some of your lineups. James Magruder has left us a follow-up super chat. The best 4,600 or under play for utility on DK who is not Seth Curry. 4,600 or under. Who is it for me?
7,600 and under.
4,600 or under.
4,600 and under. Thank you. God, you don't like my answer.
Is it going to be Cam Thomas?
No.
Because my answer is Seth Curry, but it can't be Seth Curry.
Yeah, Dorian Finney-Smith.
Well, I do not like guys in that price range.
Nope. Dorian Finney-Smith is my guy.
Yeah, mine is Jalen Suggs.
Baby, Jalen Suggs.
Oh, no, never mind. It can't be Jalen Suggs because that game's already locked. So it is Dorian Finney-Smith. Right?
Never mind.
Yeah, I was just looking through all my players and forgot to take out the games that have already started.
Wouldn't
so yeah,
change
DFS for me as well.
Hi, I'm Jalen Suggs.
Are you now?
I am. Trick Daddy.
Now? Let me make sure that there's no more super. Oh, by the way, I'm going to have to change some stuff. The Warriors starting lineup. It is not Kevon Looney at center. Got something stuck in my throat. It is Curry, Poole, DiVincenzo, Thompson, Draymond Green.
What in the bloody hell are we doing?
Boy, I spent like an hour with EMAC and those pubic hairs come back.
I still find them in my teeth.
The Nets starting lineup. The Warriors starting lineup, just to read it again. Curry, Poole, DiVincenzo, Thompson, Draymond Green.
So no Kevon Looney. That was a good talk.
Yep,
Remove from Poole.
Yep, that is what I'm
or
doing.
Poole.
Right Do you like Jordan Poole at all now that he is confirmed?
I think he's at least interesting. I mean, it's not like him sharing the floor with Klay Thompson and Steph Curry is ideal as opposed to coming off the bench. But like, I got to imagine they're going to start staggering pretty quickly into that game. I assume he's the first guy who gets subbed out for him or Klay. And then you probably just stagger with 2 of the 3 the rest of the way until the closing lineup, except for at the start of the third quarter, of course. But like, I'm going to add a couple extra minutes, like 3 minutes to him. But like DiVincenzo sharing the floor with all 3 of them right from the get-go, probably not a good thing. Draymond Green playing the 5, though, he probably gets the biggest bump.
Yeah, especially because he's not scoring dependent.
Yeah, he's just going to be out there passing to 3 really good shooters. Like Let's just stack it up and let's go have some fun, shall we? Don't get ejected, Draymond, but please, I'm actually playing you today.
I am going to as well. I'm curious, what are his rebound and assist props? Let's see if this is interesting at all. Rebounds for Draymond Green, 7.5. Assists for Draymond
Green, him at the 5,
6.5.
that's a really good number. Let me see what we have in NBA Bet Pro too.
I mean, the lineup just came out, so
I know it did, so it's going to change. Yet. But I'm saying what it was before as a baseline because I'm not going to run the rates right now. We had him at 8.1 rebounds as is, so like you expect more rebounds without Looney on the floor. Like that's just natural.
I'm gonna look at I always like to look at some of the alternate lines.
I have so much prop exposure to this freaking slate now. It's just insane.
The assists I'll leave alone. It's interesting though. But
we're gonna need some real good run good with Mikal Bridges today.
How good?
Like we're talking, can I get to 25 points?
Oh, right, because of your props.
Yeah, it's already locked in. I can't do anything about it. And now it's down way low, 19.5, the prevailing number.
What are the other, what do you bet like rebounds or assists with them as well?
I did assists. Yeah, 4 assists. That one's still doable, but like 25.5 if he's going to play 30 minutes sucks. I truly think it's like they said it, knowing full well that if they're down 20 going into the third quarter, they might just sit him.
Yeah, and that's the Nets are such a weird team right now. They win games that you would not expect them to win at all. And then there's games like they're playing shitty teams and like, well, the Bulls, not that they're like the worst team in the world, but it's still the Nets are in a game. It's like, oh, they should be relatively competitive. I'm playing the Bulls and they lose by 50. And then they go on the road against the Boston Celtics and they win the game outright. It's a team that doesn't really make much sense.
I'm still gonna be overweight to Mikal Bridges on DK. He's down to 4%. If everybody's gonna hit eject, I'm happy to play him. In the event that it stays competitive, what are they going to do? Not let him try to close out this game?
No, I don't think it's that they would not let him close out the game. I just think they would be they'd just be slightly more cautious with minutes. Like we're not going to see him play the 38 he's played in recent games.
Tell you what, this Edmund Sumner thing is just going to go up for me because he's the person I keep giving more minutes to. I really don't think Cam Thomas plays more than Edmund Sumner.
I am not going to play very much of Cam Thomas.
I have 8%. So congratulations to everybody on the 50 piece.
So before we go over to So Rare, who in order, who are the Nets players you have the most exposure to?
Let me group it. I was just looking at them and I clicked
because I don't have a lot of exposure to Nets who aren't Day'Ron Sharpe or Seth Curry.
Seth Curry, Day'Ron Sharpe, 1-2. Dorian Finney-Smith, I have a ton of. I have 45% Dorian Finney-Smith. It's a positional thing. 4,200. He has the power forward eligibility. There are some good power forward plays, especially now that they all have power forward center eligibility. But like 4,200, the value just doesn't look as good as it used to. Like Day'Ron Sharpe, we both had 100% of. Neither of us have that anymore. By default, something else has to come up. But then Edmund Sumner, I have 35% of right now. I'm taking a very strong stance that it is him over Cam Thomas playing more minutes. And Edmund Sumner is not a fantasy zero. He's a 0.9 fantasy point per minute guy. That's above average in terms of what you would expect coming off the bench there. So I think if you have a game that gets wonky, he gets more minutes. I think if he comes out and plays well, he could get more minutes. There's a lot of ways that they're going to limit Mikal Bridges' minutes where Edmund Sumner plays over Cameron Thomas, and you are just exploding over the field considering he's just 3% owned.
Let me bump up Finney-Smith a little bit. Don't want to get
Finney-Smith is just a great play, I think. It's just a minutes thing. I think if the game stays intact, he plays 34 plus minutes.
I think the Nets are going to run a really dumb rotation today where they run it like a 5th grade rec league and just everybody plays.
Everybody gets a chance because we're here to hand out participation trophies.
Yeah, I think that's what's
fucking
coming our way.
That stuff. It's just a joke.
Have you ever coached in any of those leagues?
No, because I would be, how competitive I am in real life. I am cutthroat and I can't turn it off. I have once upon a time, this is a weird thing to admit on a stream in front of everybody, but playing Disney trivia. I made my now sister-in-law cry when we were like 19 years old. Just made her sob because of Disney trivia. I made fun of her for screwing up a question. And then I just laughed because I knew nothing about Disney and they were supposed to know everything about Disney. And I got like the last round correct and I rubbed it in her face and made her cry. And I enjoyed it at the time.
Okay. Well, there's some background on Eric who
I don't feel good about it now. I've matured, but I'm just saying at the time,
not that much.
I was just like, she's being a whiner.
Finney Smith, trying to bump him up a little bit for me because I don't want Finney Smith to go out and crush and then to get the text message be like, oh, look how good Finney Smith is. And then me just sitting there without any exposure to Finney Smith. They're not that much. So,
but like legitimately, what do they do for wings? Like you don't have like Yuta Watanabe would have to play more than what we think. And I really don't think that that's the case.
Or Joe Harris.
See, that would be very unfun. But with no Royce O'Neal and no Cameron Johnson, if they're going to limit Mikal Bridges, I just think Dorian Finney-Smith plays 34 minutes. I'm pretty firm on that. Now, if they get blown out, don't at me on Twitter. Don't say that. But I haven't projected for 34. I truly think he plays 36 plus if this game goes the full distance within 10.
Do you think that when Seth killed the hooker before, do you think it was over Disney trivia?
Probably.
I bet it was too. I'd be curious to get more insight there.
Yeah, we'll bring her on stream one time, except for pretty sure she's still mad at me about it. It's been 16 years and it's still brought up from time to time where it's like, we can't play games with Eric. Like Nicole and Eric cannot play games together because I'll get too competitive. She'll want everybody to have fun. And I think that's stupid.
Speaking of more upstanding citizens, Riley Cooper is in chat and left us a super chat. Riley Cooper 14. So maybe a different Riley Cooper and his transgression, different from your transgression, Eric, but also somebody with a black mark on his resume nonetheless. Well, Riley Cooper wants to know Murray or Barnes? Do you have a preference?
Murray or Barnes? They both suck, but if you have to play one in the Sacramento game, I guess I'll pull it up. I didn't really want to look at Sacramento anytime soon here.
Let's see, Murray, Barnes. Boy, I don't like either of these guys.
Harrison Barnes, if you had to play one.
It's Barnes, but I've got Barnes projected for 25 fantasy points and Murray for 23. They're both over 5K. It's a tough sell for me.
Eric makes girls cry over Disney trivia. SMH, not anybody who didn't deserve it, because again, we play to win games. You don't play games to have fun. You play games to win. You play to win the game. Duh.
Cloud LLC, you guys need a good laugh. Green checkmark Chris Rock special. I haven't watched that yet. I've seen that it's on Netflix though.
Already saw it. It was great. It was hilarious. He's not as funny as he used to be. He's still fucking funny. Like that guy is a stud. Chris Rock is so good.
It's hard to be. I know that some people definitely. It's hard to be as funny and relatable when you have millions and millions of dollars.
But he like literally touches on that, and it's the funniest thing ever.
Oh, really?
He talks about his kids, where he's like, he identifies as broke. I thought that was like the funniest thing ever. He's like, I'm rich, but I identify as broke, and I've spent it all on ladies, and I would do it all again if I could. I'm like, that's incredible. He goes, I put more people through college. It's just incredible stuff. He's so good.
James Harden's put plenty of strippers through college. Really
sure has
said that they are going to college. Richie G, who won the bet from Tuesday about Chris Dunn, Eric did. I paid him immediately. I paid him $35 for a Rainmakers pack next week. Eric can confirm. I Venmoed him right away.
Oh, I forgot that you did that. That's so nice of you.
Go check your Venmo account. I paid you right away.
You did. You're such a good.
If I had seen that, I would have said ownership. I went and paid Eric.
Yeah, Noah, but here's the thing. He was also not going to be. He wasn't ever going to be there. So we agreed on that. That made me feel better than when he wasn't starting and whatever. He still put up 30. I ended up with like 68% of him because I had nowhere to go with that exposure.
A Discord question from Noah. 25.5 still up on Prize Picks for Mikal Bridges. Yeah, bet the under on that points.
Wow.
For somebody who we've got some sort of idea that he's going to be on minutes restriction, yeah, bet that under.
I'm pretty unhappy with my prop exposure at the moment. 1, 2, 3, 4. I was Hulk slam smashing, bragging in the premium Discord about how many bucks I was able to get. What did I pair them almost all with? Mikal Bridges. So I'm drawing 2. Again, Drew Holiday, 35 fantasy score. Chris Middleton, 31. That was incredible value to lock in. Just picked the wrong dude to come along for the ride.
So let's build out a so rare lineup here before that we head out. Jordan, you still have my login information, correct? There we go. He went to share the screen, but he didn't answer. I was like, oh, what happened here?
I earned a reward from my Reckley. I just pulled up my so rare. This is so cool. Who did I get? Jabari Smith Jr.
I hope that's Jabari Smith. What's his cost right now?
I just clicked out of the card. Let me look.
Oh, okay. No big deal. By the way, so we have, for anybody who's interested in getting into so rare, we have totally free projections over on the site. I just posted them or threw them into the YouTube chat. Totally free. Going to help you guys build out some lineups. If you want to know what these different lines mean within our projections, the projection, self-explanatory. It's the projection. The last 10 average, it is there. Jordan's got it up on screen right here. So the different columns you're looking at here, projection, that's just how many fantasy points we project players to score in the upcoming slate. Last 10 average, that's the equivalent of their salary over on so rare. And then value, this is just their salary relative to what the price is. So it's just the differential between the two. Generally, we're looking at this column to find out who the best value of this slate is. So
Greg,
let's go back.
Walker Kessler has 3 blocks.
The dude's an absolute legend.
I literally don't even know what to do with my life. Why do the Timberwolves have Rudy Gobert? Neil Orfield, I saw you in the chat. Why do we do this to ourselves? Why can't we be Packers fans? Why can't we be into the game? Why can't we be Bucks fans? Why can't we be anything other than this godforsaken Timberwolves Minnesota sports fandom that we have that makes me truly want to drink bleach?
It could be worse.
No, it couldn't.
You could be a fan of, let's see, what's like
it's taking you a long time, so the answer is no. Mark Williams headed to the locker room. Congratulations to the JT Thor people.
You could be a fan of the Hornets right now.
Honestly, more hope, because they could. That's pretty bleak.
Pistons.
Nick Richards out there just Hulk smashing. Enjoy that. That's going to hurt.
He's probably going to break the slate now with Mark Williams hurt, isn't he?
Sure is. I don't have any. I just looked it up. I can't imagine this scenario. Oh, I have one share. I have one share. I like how you put it's in the $4 though. That sucks.
And Jalen Green's playing an auction. Me, I've got a bid. Nick Richards.
Son of a biscuit. I have one share. What is his ownership this is in the $4. How do I pull this up? All right, 13.5 is how many that has. Again, when you're not on your phone, you feel a little naked on this show.
Scroll down a little bit, Jordan, so we could show the people the different contests that are available over at So Rare right now. Let's go to let's see, which one should
Richards is 0.1% owned. I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, do the limited tip off, Jordan. Click register on that. Try to build out some lineups for this. Let's see some of the best values on the slate. I know I don't have Tyus Jones. I don't have Day'Ron Sharpe, Kelly Oubre. I do have, I'm pretty sure I have Anthony Davis though.
Ooh, that's fun.
So we got Anthony Davis. Play AD.
I'm in the tip off. Jason Tatum. I can now play my De'Aaron Fox too, which is good.
And then also play Jokic, because we're going to be able to use him as the MVP right here. And so click on Jokic. He's right at the top there. Yeah. All right. So the MVP, that's not going to count against the salary cap. So we got Jokic. We've got Anthony Davis. By the way, I also like to bring this up when we talk about it. Like a few weeks ago now, I forget exactly what the date was. Somebody won a 1-of-1 Giannis in a So Rare competition, ended up selling for $187,000 on the second.
Unreal.
Over at So Rare.
I will say, how many minutes did Yusuf Nurkic play yesterday?
Let me look.
Because I'm building out my limited tip off, the tip to tip off. Yusuf Nurkic there. He's 25, which I feel like is very, very low if he played any kind of considerable minutes first game back.
17.
That's not good.
No. But the game was also a blowout, so it's hard to know. What are the others? Yeah, no. So he played 17. Grant played 33. Dame played 30. Cam Reddish played 34. Not a great look.
That's not great, Bob.
Not great. By the way, some of the better values that we have overall on SoRare for the upcoming slate, Tyus Jones. That's just because he's still not priced all the way up for John Morant being out. The way the pricing works over on SoRare is it's what have players done over the last 10 games? What are their average fantasy points? Since a bunch of those games still are incorporating games that Tyus Jones played behind John Morant, it's going to be another slate or two until his price catches up with him. So for now, he remains a really strong value. Also, Daron Sharp, he looks like a great value for the upcoming slate because his cost is only 11, and we also got Nick Claxton expected to be out for multiple games here. So Daron Sharp still looks good with his cost.
I think the nuts, though, out of anybody that I'm looking at the prices, I'm going through tomorrow because I have like a template where I can update for my own stuff because I do a lot of coverage the night before for stuff. My top projected player tomorrow in terms of point per dollar. Do you want to just guess who it is?
Well, let me look at the games tomorrow.
I think it's a really fascinating talking point for SoRare tomorrow.
So there's only 6 games.
Mm-hmm. Oh, nope. It's for Saturday's games. Excuse me. Saturday's games.
Saturday's
I'm a jerk. But it's important.
This is so like I don't Saturday's games. I don't know. I'm just gonna be looking at our projections. But I'm
trying to give the people the SoRare stuff.
Yeah.
I think it's got to be Christian Wood. He's at 24. Luka Doncic is going to be out for a little while. Like there's no doubt he's going to be out for a hot second. Him and Kyrie Irving are. I just don't know what else Dallas does. They have McGee, who should be shelved. Reggie Bullock, he was doubtful. I doubt he plays again on Saturday. Maxi Kleba has been rough coming back from injury. He might be out again. They might have to play Christian Wood just because. I have over 42 fantasy points.
He played 26 the other day.
Yeah, I think he's going to play a lot now with Luka Doncic out. So, like, Christian Wood is the guy.
He projects he's one of the best projected players for us as well.
Good.
The only downside to that is that he only plays one game on the upcoming slate as opposed to a lot of other players playing 2. So he's one of our best projected values, but there's other guys that like Tyus Jones projects better.
Okay. That's fair.
Yeah. If he had 2 games, I'm sure he would project a little bit better for us. But once again, still, he's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He's the 9th best projected points per dollar play.
Yeah, I ran some stuff because I was like, oh, I'll take a look at it. Brought the 2 days, the Friday, Saturday slates together. Yeah, he's my highest projected point per dollar guy. Like in terms of like at 24, where he is at SoRare, I'm in love with it. But yeah, as you said, just one game. I don't account for the double games. I just do it by an individual game basis.
Some of the starts to the players out here. We've got Terry Rozier. It's 2 points, a rebound, 3 assists, and 2 steals in 5
Seems
minutes.
Good.
Terry Rozier, James Wiseman, 4 points, 5 boards. Marvin Bagley, 0 stats. 0 stats for Marvin Bagley, as has kind of become a custom for him as of late. And from the Utah Jazz, they have Kelly Olynyk, 6 points, 2 boards, 2 assists for Kelly O. And from the Orlando side of the game, nobody really nothing of note.
Would Tyrese Halliburton like to score the basketball? That would be fun. He has 6 assists. Holy shit. Thank you for coming to my party.
I assume you have a prop bet on the over on his points.
I have it on points plus rebounds plus assists, 36.5. So at least that's good. But like the way you get there is by scoring the basketball mostly, and then the assists come along for the ride. I also 33.5 it was points plus assists on the day. I thought that was a pretty decent bet too.
And I mean, the other thing too with Tyrese Halliburton, who knows, maybe he goes and puts up like 20 assists, 10 rebounds, and 6 points and gets you there.
Yeah, it's in play. Do we like Looney under 8.5 rebounds today?
I would avoid it. We got him.
It was pretty neutral
10
at
and a
this
half
point.
the other day.
Yeah, it was 10. 10 was the number. And he got 4 rebounds in like 5 minutes. And then he came back for like one more stint. And then he was out the rest of the game, played 11 minutes.
I'm going to try to drink some water. And I got ice in my mouth.
Good.
I might die. Would there be anything more
What's
embarrassing
cooler
than
than
choking on ice? Because you know you're not going to die, but you just have to wait for it to melt. All right, we're good now.
Deep thoughts with Greg Ehrenberg.
Well, I'm trying to think like, all right, how could I not choke on this ice on live stream? It would have been an issue, but we
would have had to melt in like a minute because like you'd lose circulation to your brain. You would lose all motor function and you would be dead.
I bet that's what happened to Mike Lawrence.
Oh my God.
Mike choked on.
Explains a lot.
He choked on ice. He lost brain function, but only for a little bit. So he was able to rebound, but he came back like a little bit off. And now he's falling up steps into the garbage cans and breaking his arm.
It's very nice.
Super chat, by the way. This is from Cloud LLC. This is Middleton, Harris, or Portis and Ingles.
I mean, where did Joe Ingles come from?
I'll say Middleton and Harris. I mean, I like Middleton a lot. I like Portis a lot.
I have zero Joe Ingles, and I would never play Joe Ingles on this slate in a million years at 4K. I would run into zero of him today. So congratulations on the 40 ball there.
So that's the side we're both going with, Middleton and Joe. At least Joe Harris is starting, right?
Correct.
And I do have more exposure to Middleton than Portis. I think both of them are really strong options, though.
I'm just running one more thing. It's always fun. This is enjoyable. Just
so text, by the way, saying he's trying to visualize falling up the stairs. According to Mike, he was trying to dodge old ladies, and he didn't want to run into them, and he was on his phone, and then he fell up the stairs, and he fell into a garbage can and broke his arm.
Like, it's a lot of detail. That sounds like a Mike Lawrence story.
Which you guys might think that I'm making up something ridiculous. I promise you that is the story I was told. Am I that far off, Jordan? Yeah, nothing but accuracy. So a few minutes left here, and I'm going to read out some of the other top so rare plays that we have in our projections for the upcoming slate. And mentioned that some of the cheap guys, Tyus Jones benefiting, Day'Ron Sharp. If we're looking in the mid-range, Kelly Oubre projects really, really well for us. He has not yet been updated in terms of price. Oh, by the way, Mark Williams, good news, probable to return. So I was about to start looking at Nick Richards' price point.
Yeah, out of 44 lineups, I'm very surprised that I got 1 out of 44 Nick Richards. He is 0.1%. I had the nuts with that lineup.
Who else is in it?
Jalen Green just being an absolute POS. So probably not good.
Top pay up options for us for the upcoming so rare slate. We have Joel Embiid projected for 60.5 fantasy points.
Love it.
Nikola Jokic at 60. AD at 58.5. Then there's a pretty big drop off. Then we get to Damian Lillard, James Harden, Kyrie Irving, those kind of guys. Kyrie still looks pretty good because of the absence of Luka, but Kyrie is fairly expensive. So for instance, Kyrie is $45 or 45 salary. The cost of Anthony Davis is 47. So Anthony Davis still would be a higher priority for me than Kyrie Irving if you guys have those options between those two. Some of the other top value plays, the aforementioned Christian Wood projects really well for us. James Wiseman still projects really well. Terry Rozier projects really well. In the absence of LaMelo Ball, that is somebody who's going to look good for the next few slates. Unfortunately, when I've played him in DFS, it hasn't gone as well. He doesn't make any shots from the field in the slates I play him. But apparently today, when I'm not on him, he gets all of the steals. Eric, any final thoughts for you on this slate as we are about to log off here? What are you looking out for in the next coming time before the next set of games lock?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Jalen Brunson, I'm sitting right around 8% of him. I don't really know what I'm supposed to do about this because I really would like him. Maybe the minutes are limited. Maybe they're not. I don't know what to make of it. It's hard to get on quickly and just preload that because those are completely dead if Brunson plays. I think he's closer to playing. So you're going to be paying attention to that. Also, Brooklyn, Milwaukee, just keep your ears peeled. I mean, we have half an hour beforehand. I wouldn't be shocked if something happens where they just sit Mikal Bridges out of the middle of nowhere. I'm kind of keeping my fingers crossed that is the case because then it voids all of my Mikal Bridges bets that I have today. That would be ideal, but just something to keep your eye out for. And then check out So Rare. I really, really enjoy game planning out 3 days ahead of time, but I also don't have the attention span to do year-long NBA anymore. So it's a great hybrid for me to be able to get exposure to NFTs, to be able to go play in the marketplace, to be able to project a couple days ahead of time, which is kind of my specialty now, covering everything over on Liddy's Leans, Likes, and Locks over on the Odd Shopper channel. Check that out too.
If you guys have not done yet, do us a favor, like the video and subscribe to the YouTube channel. We appreciate you guys a whole bunch for watching. And also, shout out to So Rare. If you guys haven't signed up there yet, use the link that we have below. Good luck tonight. We will see you guys back here tomorrow.